Agents, you have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Second, 2 out, Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series. Open, Chicago with the lead. Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Under it, and to the middle with the 15, to the 20, breaks free of the 25, to the 30, to the outside, 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester's 5. Oh, touchdown Bears!
Time in 6 seasons, it's one goal achieved. The Chicago Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup. Right. A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo. It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this TGI Mickey Ficky Friday. It's the weekend, baby. And I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. Listen, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not following us on Facebook, what? What? Listen, go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. But wait, there's more. While you're there, all right, for a goof. Why not? For a goof. Do me a favor. Go to the show's page. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning. We have our own Facebook page as well. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning's Facebook page. Like that as well. And now you're following the show's page as well. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right? Perfect. Now, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, excellent. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, for real, listen. Listen, Linda. Listen, Linda. Go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button. Also, click the notification button. That's the little bell. Okay, that's the bell. Okay, right next to it. That'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, if you're watching this on our mobile app, yay! That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I listen. That's what I need here. So here's what you do. If you didn't know we had an app, what? Come on, man. We have our own mobile app. All right. So listen, wherever you get your apps from, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Walmart, Kmart, 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, Macy's, all right, Woolworth, Venture, wherever you get them from, you go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it, you take us with you on the go. Not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but let me tell you what, we give you a slew, and I mean a slew of articles, thanks to my man Clarence Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. And if you're watching this on our Roku channel, now I like that kind of party, baby. Yay. And if you didn't know, you better ask somebody. We got our own Roku channel, fools. Listen. We have our own Roku channel. Okay? So if you have a Roku device in the house, a Roku TV in the house, do us a favor. Okay? Here's what you do. You've already downloaded Stars. And I didn't get to watch it this morning, man. But you've already downloaded Stars for Power Book 2 Season 3, and the season finale is today. So I'll watch that after the show. You've downloaded Paramount Plus for Yellowstone, Kevin Costner. You've downloaded Showtime because Billions is coming back and Axe returns. Okay. Download the Sports Zone Chicago tile. Do us that favor. All right, put it smack dab in the middle of all of them. Disney Plus, Prime, HBO Max, Hulu, all of them. Put it right there. Even if you have a couple of TVs in the house, even if it's in the kids' room where you're probably not going to watch this, that's okay. Just do us a favor. Download it there as well. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. You can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at Sports Zone Shy. That's CHI at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, you want to know what I did? Well, let me tell you what I did. You want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper, and TikTok. All one handle. If you're watching, you see it at the bottom of the page at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. And if you want to follow her on Instagram because you're an IGer and you do it just for the gram, well, just follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. Woo! Listen, we have a phenomenal show, but we need you to get interactive. So whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, our mobile app, you can't really get interactive with us on Roku, but that's okay. That's fine. All right. And if you're watching any other platform, leave a question or comment on that platform. It'll come up here and we will get it on the screen. We'll talk about it. We'll incorporate it. And guess what? That's what makes this the best Chicagoland morning show around. Sports talk morning show, that is. All right. Is your participation, your question, your comments, your smart ass remarks. Bring it all. We want all that smoke. All right. We ain't scared over here. We ain't scared at all. All right. We want it. We welcome it. Let's see who we got in the text line. Cornelius Squalls. What up, Papa? Good morning. There he is, Armando Emeterio. Lara Jr.'s in the house. And if he's in the house, that means Patty's close by. Patty Lara's close by. And Armando Emeterio, Lara the fourth. And Jeremiah, his two grandsons. Gentlemen and lady, good morning. Bashan Walls in the Mickey Ficky house. TGIF, you damn right, baby. Levette Lee in the house. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in. Hassem in the Mickey Ficky house. Yeah. How you doing, baby? How you doing, Hassem? Good job, Papa. Thanks for tuning in. We got a great, great show. When I say great show, I am not bull jiving, and it's a full show. Full of shit with me. Oh, no. I'm just playing. I got jokes. Funny guy. Listen, 10 o'clock, man, we get kicked off already. My man from Bally Sports, Brandon Scoop B. Robinson is going to join us. We're going to talk NBA playoffs. We're going to talk Bulls. Where do the Bulls go from here? What do they do? What do they do? Or my Chicago answer, what do they do? They got to do something. They got to do something over there. The freaking Chicago Bulls, they got to do something. They do. They really do. In my Chicago accent. So Brandon Scoopy Robbins is going to join us at 10 o'clock, talking NBA playoffs and give us a national look at my Bulls. Jason Palmer is going to join us at 10:30. He's the host, one of the co-hosts of What's Up, Cuz. That's on here on Sports Zone Chicago every Monday, 6 p.m. He's going to join us. He's going to talk about the Chicago Sky. They open up their regular season tonight in Minnesota against the Lynx. He's going to give us a preview of the season. A lot of change has gone on with the Sky. All right, they won the title 2 years ago. They lost in the semis, I want to say, this past season. And then afterwards, there's an exodus, a mass exodus. The four of the five starters have left. Clea Copper's the only starter left, so they had to readjust on the fly. So we're going to talk to Jason Palmer at 10:30. And then at 11 o'clock, Jacob Infante. All right, the lead draft analyst from Windy City Gridiron. We're going to talk Bears football, baby. You know how I do. 11 o'clock, Bears football. Man, every show, damn near every show. All right, we've got a lot to talk about. A lot's going on in the sports world. In the Chicago sports world, there's a lot going on. And we're going to have to talk about, and not we have to, we get to talk about it. That's the great part about it. We get to talk about it. All right. It is going to be a beautiful day here today in the Chi. Real quick, what's it going to be like? 71, a little rainy. That's okay. Listen, if you don't have the rain, you don't appreciate the sunshine. All right. This weekend, about 70 tomorrow. 77 on Sunday, 73 Monday. Okay. Ahead of, is it Memorial Day weekend next weekend already? Is Memorial Day weekend next weekend already? Wow. Man, it is. Holy shnikes. Man, time flies. Time flies when you're having fun. Memorial Day weekend is next weekend already. What in the world is going on? Whoo-wee. Man, I got to figure out if I'm going to be here or not, and where I'm. Man, we got lots to talk about. Bulls, Cubs, Sox, Hawks. Actually, we don't have much Hawks talk today. Bears, Sky, NBA playoffs, which the Bulls are not a part of. We were close. We were oh so close. But not quite. But not quite. So, man, I'm excited. I was on a podcast last night with Nomad, and I'm sure he'll be on here in a little bit. Great podcast. Make sure you check it out. It's called Nomad Live. It's on YouTube. Make sure you go check that out. Check out the episode from last night. It was good, and then continue to follow him. He does some pretty good stuff, pretty good analysis. Really, so it's good to watch. Good to check out. It's all Chicago Bears, all the time. Okay, all Bears all the time. So I like it, which is why I hopped on the podcast with him last night. So it was good stuff. But yeah, TGI Friday, TGIF, Patty, thank you very much. The Denver Nuggets, Armando Emeterio, Lara Jr. Yeah, Junior, the Nuggets. I love it. Close. I'm going to talk about those today. Oh, you got jokes. Oh, I know you. So, yeah, I know you always have jokes. No need for me to break that day. Sons of biscuits. Listen, guys. You know how we do. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
Yeah, the first top of the morning topic. The good guys. God bless it. You know, you're pissing me off over here. You're pissing me off. All right. The White Sox fall to the Cleveland Guardians yesterday. It was, let me tell you something. It was 3-1. Okay. Talk about frustrating. You have a chance. Here's the thing that bugs me. You have a chance to sweep. That's the thing that gets me. Remember, guys, I told you, I said, listen, we got to win 2 out of 3. I just want to win series. 2 out of 3. Remember that? I'm sure you do. However, I did say, if we take the first 2 games of a series, of a 3-game set, we have to have that eye of the tiger, that killer instinct to go for the jugular and sweep. Okay? We have to. And I know that's asking a lot. First of all, just us winning a series is foreign to us this season. And for me to ask you to have the killer instinct to close out game 3 to sweep is another thing. But listen, you're not new. All right, you guys are not new. You've swept series before. You've had the last good couple of years, decent years. Okay, you made the playoffs. And you have to get back to that. You have to get back to the mentality of winning. You have to get back to the mentality of take no prisoners. Okay, and that's the issue that I have. That's the big issue that I have, is that they don't have that mentality. And it's frustrating because this is a game you should have won. And this is a division foe. So if you take yesterday's game, you gain 3 games on Cleveland. All right. You gained 3 games on Cleveland. All right. Instead, you gained 1. All right. We are 4th in the division. Okay. I mean, Cleveland would have been 7.5 back. Whole game. 8, yeah. And so these are the moments that you look at, you're like, son of a bitch. Like, these moments added up over a season are what cause poor records. Like I said, I told you I wanted the series, and 2 out of 3 is a series. But man, there's got to be that next level, because you started off slow. You lost what? You split the first series with Houston, and then you lost the next 6 series in a row. So that's not good. And just as I said, when you win 2 out of 3, your wins double quickly, and your record gets good really fast. Well, when you lose 2 out of 3, 6 times in a row, your record gets bad really fast. So I don't know. I get frustrated with them because of the talent that they have, and the thing that they don't even see. They don't even see or maybe they're just too blind. Maybe they're just, we know what we're talking about. The hell with you. I don't know. We'll see. Well, staying with the Sox, keeping it moving. The next top of the morning topic. The White Sox they start a 3-game set today with the Kansas City Royals. Michael Kopech's on the bump. He's 1-4 with a 5.74 ERA. He's going up against Zach Greinke. He's 1-4. Bad year for him with a 5.01 ERA. First pitch 7.10. That's on NBC Sports Chicago. And the radio side is the flagship 1000 AM. Zach Greinke how the mighty have fallen. Zach Greinke was one of the best pitchers for a while. Debuted in 2004. And let me tell you something. First of all, he's given us fits always. All right. The Cy Young Award winner back in 2009. He was a 6-time All-Star. All MLB second team a few years ago in 2019. 6 times a Gold Glove winner. And yeah, he's at toward the end of his career, the back end of his career. But he's always been a guy who gave us fits, gave us problems, always. And it's crazy to see when you see a guy who's been so dominant. It doesn't matter what sport. This happened with me and Larry Bird when I was younger. When you see a guy who at one point was so dominant, starting to slip, it truly, truly, truly makes you realize how great they were. It truly does. When they're missing shots or their pitches, they can't locate their pitches, or they can't, outrun the DB, or they can't, whatever sport it is, they take a big hit in hockey, or, when they would have been quicker and faster in their younger days. The old saying, Father Time is undefeated. And to see Zach Greinke, and trust me, there's no love lost for him as a fan, as a White Sox fan, because he killed us every time he faced us. But as a baseball fan, you're like, wow, this guy used to be able to do this. And I think the reason we hated him as White Sox fans was because he was so good. That's why do you hate players? Because they're good and they're doing bad things to your team. So it's not like you just hate them for no reason. And we don't hate the person. It's not, when I say hate, I'm just saying as a fan, you hate a player. All right. Because he's very successful against your team. And sometimes he has your team's number, and sometimes he dominates your team. And for so long, Zach Greinke dominated us. And so now we get to face him today. So he's coming in with a 1-4 record, a 5.01 ERA. Doesn't mean his stuff isn't good. It just means his stuff isn't as good as it was before. So we need to get back on a winning track. I'm talking meaning the White Sox. You should have had that game yesterday. And as I said, you keep having these little small games that you should win at the end of the year, and you fall 1 or 2 games short of the playoffs. We can point back to yesterday's game as one of those games. We've already had a couple games that we've lost that we should have won. Okay, we point back to those games in the regular season and say that's where we fell short. Those games, this game right here was one of the big reasons we missed the playoffs. This game right here was one of the big reasons we missed the playoffs. These 8 games collectively are the reason we missed the playoffs. Games where we snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. This is where we went wrong. We're going to talk Sox a little bit today. Actually, we don't have much time for baseball. We're going to talk. So let me talk a little bit about it now. You know, Dylan Cease was doing well. He was cruising yesterday. You know, and Tim Anderson has his Tim Anderson moment. Okay. You know, you look at that and you sit there and you're like, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't it's not all Tim Anderson's fault. I am not saying that by any stretch. So don't come at me like that, because you know damn well I know my sports. But that botch of a ground ball, how many years have we been saying Tim just needs to work on the routine ground ball? How many years now? All right, the runner was at third. The go-ahead run was at third. Frustrating. But that's not the main reason we lost. The main reason we lost, we scored 1 run. There's no excuse. Bases loaded. Bottom of the second inning. Bases loaded. Nobody out. Nobody out. Bottom of the second. Bases loaded. Nobody out. And you can't push 1 or 2 or 3 across. Bingo. There it is. There it is. All right. Yesterday, White Sox hitters were 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. That's not all Tim Anderson. 3 of them came in the second inning. 1 for 7. You cannot continue to leave guys on base like that. It will kill you. It hurt you yesterday. And this is death by 1,000 paper cuts. These add up over time. 1 game here, 1 game here, 1 game here. And in the course of a season, you get 6, 8, 10 of those games. That's where you lose the division. That's where you lose your playoff seeding. That's where you lose the wild card seeding. That's where you miss the playoffs. And the Sox are an extremely talented team. They're not a good team. They're talented. And there's a huge difference. And I hope we know that, Sox fans. They play well at times, yes. But they're not a good team. And what can be done to fix that? I don't know. I'll tell you what was really, really good yesterday. Garrett Crochet pitched a perfect 9th. His first appearance since 2021. Back in the playoffs, when we last made the playoffs. Remember, he had Tommy John surgery. That whole 9. Another thing, and this is from Darryl Von Schoen in the Chicago Sun-Times. The bullpen has not allowed a run in a season-high 4 straight games. And that covers, 10 and 2/3 innings. Almost 11 innings. They haven't given up a run. The bullpen. That's what you want. That's what you want. All right. Now we need to come through. We have plenty of chances. That second inning, bases loaded, that's where you jump on someone's neck. That's where you open the game right then and there. There's two things. One, for a team that's not that good, like the Royals, it says, damn, they're here to play. They're here to close us out. They obviously, the Royals know that they're trying to avoid a sweep, and when you come out of the gates fast like that and have that opportunity and you take advantage of it, it puts a lot of doubt in the opposing team. Like, man, but the Royals will fight. There's professionals over there. But you can't let those opportunities get squandered away like the White Sox did. And that was the issue. Tim Anderson's issue just exacerbated. I know he got caught stealing twice. I don't care about that. I want these jokers to run. I want them to run. But that bobbled routine ground ball with the go-ahead run at third, can't happen. Can't happen. So it's frustrating. Well, listen, let's take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
Yeah, hello. I'm really not sure if this is what you all do, but I really don't have anywhere else to turn.
Hi. I don't even know why I'm calling right now. I'm sorry. My thoughts are going a mile a minute.
My kids are out of state. My buddies from the Army are all gone now. I'm really alone.
I left the service last year. My mom just passed away a few months ago. I miss so much time with her. I keep getting calls about the bills, and I'm trying to get a job, but I feel so stuck.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad you called.
Okay, sir. Let's stay on the line and walk through some things.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Suzuki hitting 266.
In the air, left field, and forget it. Way back and out of here. Home run, Seiya Suzuki. A no-doubter over the Crawford box seats. And it's 3-0.
Suzuki with a long home run in the first.
In the air, left field, and he's done it again. Seiya Suzuki left the lot one more time. A 2-run homer.
Well, that is 3 consecutive home runs for Seiya Suzuki. He is on a roll right now.
And the Cubs now lead it 5-1.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of the Marquee Network. That was 2 days ago. The Cubs, Houston Astros. Cubs are in a situation. All right, they're kind of in a free fall. All right, they need something. Okay, they're 2-8 in their last 10 games. Excuse me, 2-8 in their last 10 games. That is they need to get fixed, and they need to rectify that quickly. All right, they're playing well, and people. What's really funny is you sit there and you hear a whole bunch of people talking, "Oh, fire Rossi, fire Rossi." What? Like, come on, dude. Like, this is why I implore you to listen to us. All right, people, like, because we don't give you that dump because something goes wrong initially. Like, you didn't hear me say fire Grifol. Okay. Now, granted, I don't think he's the right guy for the job now, as it's playing his day. But you right now you can't fire him. You can't fire him. So Cubs are, yeah, the Cubs should have won. Cubs should have won. But then again, I don't know. What are you gonna do, huh? What are you gonna do? Well, keep it moving because we are in the top of the morning segment. And speaking of the Cubs, the next top of the morning topic: the Cubs open a 3-game set in the city of brotherly love. All right, Cubs are in Philly. Opening the 3-game set, as I said, Marcus Stroman's on a bump today for the Cubs. He's 2-4 with a 3.24 ERA. He's going against Ranger Suarez, who's 0-0 with a 6.75 ERA. First pitch is 6:05 p.m. That's on the Marquee Network on the TV side, and their flagship 6:70 a.m. on the radio side. Cubs got to come out of this free fall. Nothing more, nothing less. You got to come out of this free fall. You're 2-8 in your last 10 games. All right. They're talking about what are you going to do? People are talking about trade this guy, trade that guy, trade. Oh, we should get a closer. We should do this. Like, hold on. Okay. Some people have even said, okay, trade Cody Bellinger. Are you serious? Like, this is why I can't talk sports with a lot of people. Because as soon as something goes wrong, it's blow it up. Blow it up. It's over. It sucks. Really? Really? Cody Bellinger is having a phenomenal season. Why would you want to get rid of him now? If, and that's a big if you decide to get rid of Cody Bellinger, wait till the trade deadline. Wait till the trade deadline till somebody who's maybe needs help in center field or needs a good bat to get into the playoffs or to solidify their run for a deep playoff run, then you trade him. My thought is keep him. He continues this. Come on, man. This guy's he is a winner. He's a World Series champion, Gold Glove center field winner. You don't just trade him away. You don't just do that. You keep him. And it's not like he's 30 years old, 35 years old. It's like people, like, I don't get, he's 27 years old. I get you get contrarians, you get people who say shit for shock value and let's do this, like Michael Lombardi, one of those jokers. This guy's 27. He's got a good 5 years left in him. Good 5 years. Then at that start, he'll start to show signs of age. But if he can get back to that around the MVP level, when he starts to come down, he'll still be better than many of the other players or center fielders in baseball. I'm not a big fan of getting rid of Cody Bellinger from a baseball perspective. No. All right. I know you need a closer, and you're saying, okay, well, we could flip him for a closer, but what are you going to need a closer for if you trade away one of your best players? Like Cody Bellinger is a reason you guys we're doing well for a while. Now you got to get back to that. And here's the one thing that you Cub fans could not afford. And that's what's happening now. You couldn't afford a struggle in the beginning of the year. Couldn't afford it. But you have to look at the odds of that, seeing that gambling's legal. You got a whole bunch of different guys. A whole bunch who are literally trying to gain chemistry, get used to playing with one another, build a bond, build a relationship, develop a family. It's going to take some time. And it could start off well, but then it's not that they start off well. It's what happens when you hit the first bump in the road. That's where the relationship gets tested. That's where the relationship gets forged. Because one World Series winner has an idea of what to do and how to do it, and another World Series winner has an idea of what to do and how to do it, and the other World Series winner probably has an idea of how to do it, when to do it, and the manager has an idea of how to World Series winning, two-time World Series winning catcher and manager. Well, not as a manager, but two-time World Series winner as a catcher. He has ideas on how to. So you got to get on the same page. It's early in the season, and this is what I figured would be their biggest obstacle if they struggled early, and they are. Now they are. The honeymoon is over quickly, and now you got to get on the same page. Everybody's got to be rowing in the right direction. So hopefully at Philly, you can kind of get this thing started. And you know I'm not a Cubs fan, all right? But as a baseball guy, I just like to see teams maximize their potential. All right, you added a lot of talent to the team this year. I need to see it maximized. And I understand it's going to take time. Things don't happen overnight. This is not this is a microwave society, but this is not a microwave situation. You're not just adding one guy and he's going to come in and make a big difference. All right, you just established, you cleaned house. You just established a new culture in a clubhouse. Didn't have a lot of talent. Now you're bringing in talent, a lot more talent, World Series, Gold Glove winning talent. Just got to get on the same page. All right, you got a rookie who's come up, just hit his first home run. His first game, he gets his first base hit and RBI. Excellent. A couple games later, gets his first home run. You got a lot of moving parts here. This is not a set team. There's guys that got to get settled. And there's a team that's got to be united. They all have to move forward with the same goal in mind, and not just the same goal, the same way of getting there. That's the most important thing. All right, as long as you buy into the process, things will go well. But we'll see. We'll see if they do it. We'll see. Well, the next top of the morning topic, my man Jason Palmer's going to join us at 10:30 to talk about this, but the Chicago Sky, 2 seasons removed from their WNBA championship, open up the season today at the Minnesota Lynx. Game time is 7 o'clock. Some local TV. It's going to be on Channel 26. They're on the Marquee. The Sky is on the Marquee Network. Okay, they were there last year, and I'm not sure how long they've been on there. But they're on the Marquee Network. But nobody knew it. I didn't know it. But today they're on Channel 26 as well as the Marquee Network. So you can see them. Channel 26, the U. So you can catch them on regular TV if you do not have cable. If you have cable and have the Marquee Network, check out it's going to be on Marquee Plus. All right, it's going to be on Marquee Plus because the Cubs are going to be on the Marquee Network. Okay, so they have the extra station. A lot of turnover. A lot of turnover. All right, with this team. I mean, think of all the players that are gone. All right, Candace Parker, Azura Stevens, the guards, Quigley, Vandersloot, Andy Quigley, Courtney Vandersloot. That's a lot. And you just missed the play. You missed the getting to the championship game. You got knocked out in the semis. And to have that mass exodus is going to be a challenge. And yesterday was a challenge too. Coach Wade was able to claim a forward, Kone. All right, Sika Kone. They cleaned off waivers yesterday, just before the roster deadline. All right, so it's going to be an interesting season. It's going to suck for Chicago because you just get you're coming off. They took us by storm. All right, you look at this guy, and no one thought that they're going to win the title. And I know it's what the players say, but no, you ain't looking for that. You're not. And all of a sudden, they're going and keep going, and keep going. And you're like, holy cow, they're in the semis. Oh no, they're in the WNBA final. And before I knew it, boom, it was gone. They won the WNBA. They won the championship. And don't get me wrong, there were a lot of people there, but it wasn't as hyped, and there wasn't a lot of as much fanfare as I think there should have been for these ladies. Then after that, you get back to the playoffs last season. Can't repeat. Candace leaves. The mass exodus. I said Courtney Vandersloot, Annie Quigley. I said 4 of the 5 starters. I only left Kalia Copper there by herself. Reminded me of Will Smith in the Fresh Prince. He's in the living room by himself. Like, where did everybody go? So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. They did decide they signed Dana Evans, which was smart for them, which I think that was one of the reasons they lost. They should have played her more last year. She's just a quicker guard. Quigley and Vandersloot, a little longer in the tooth and not as quick, not as fast. I think Dana Evans would have been a big difference maker in the playoffs last year. But Nimolo, last year's gone. Last year's gone, and you got to fight through this. They made a couple of signings. They got a 13-player roster. They have some big Alana Smith, Morgan Birch, Christine Anigwe. And you know what? I'm wondering. Remember I talked about it last show. There was a big contingency of young basketball draft picks this year that got cut. A big contingency of WNBA players that got cut, that were drafted this year. And that has to do with, there's only 12 teams in the league. And now you're getting more and more talented players. There needs to be an expansion, but there can't be an expansion because people aren't watching the WNBA. This is the conundrum that they're in. They're trying to grow this game. They're trying to get people to watch, because the more people that watch, the easier it is to expand. The easier it is. If it expands, then you make more money, and the more people watch, now you get a TV deal. Now you get, you know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of things. You could have TV deals to help the league survive and then thrive. See, the NBA right now is helping it survive. They're trying to get it to thrive and stand alone on itself. But they can't do it if you see people like Bria Biles. No. Yeah. Monica Zanano. Girls you see in the NCAA championship game and tournament and into the championship game, how they become household names and you see them and they get cut. So, I mean, you just lost. And that's the thing. I know you got to win. That's the thing with you got to win. But right now, women's basketball is at its highest point as far as popularity. So from a business perspective, like Monica Zanano, like she was a stud in the tournament. You lost a big Iowa Hawkeye following for her. You lost the these fan bases, these collegiate fan bases will keep an eye out. Not only the team, the city of the team, but the college following of a particular player. We'll keep an eye out for them if they're stars. So think about all this. The South Carolina girls, a couple of them got cut that were drafted this year. So whatever city cut them, they just lost a nice contingency of South Carolina fans. And unfortunately, here's where politics plays its part. At some point, you're going to have to keep people who have a lot of following, people who come from good programs, people who come from programs with big followings because their followings will watch them in these games. It's the way it is. And I know you can keep winning, but now you're not getting more, you're not attracting more fans or fans from a different group, like a big-time college group. College women basketball players or fan bases love their college basketball team. They're not necessarily into the WNBA. Okay? But the way to start getting inroads with those fan bases is to make sure these girls are on the team. These high draft picks are on the team. Because if you do, you're going to get not the whole, let's say all of Iowa's going to watch Zanano, but you're going to get a lot. I'm not saying all of South Carolina fan base is going to watch Bria, but you're going to get a lot. And you need all the eyes you can get on your product. Because right now, women's college basketball is a lot more popular than the WNBA. They have their fan bases established. They aren't going anywhere. College women's basketball isn't going anywhere. So people will follow the institution more than they will a pro team. Because there's always going to be college women's basketball. There's always going to be that. They're not in danger of falling behind, of having their team fold. This is part of a college and a university. They're going to be there. So you have to make a smart business decisions. When you get high profile players, they got to stay on for a couple of years, at least 2. At least. Or if you want to do it 1 year, but these rookies have to make it. They have to. And I know you can't tell a coach who to keep, but you're going to have to tell a coach who to keep. Unfortunately, you're dealing with dollars and cents here. This is the issue. You got to maximize. It's just like social media. People get NIL deals for their social media following. You want to have more followers. You get more followers, you make more money. Same thing in the WNBA. You get more followers, more people watch the WNBA. You get more money. You get more sponsors. You can charge higher prices. You can expand. So now we have more teams. It's just economics. Good luck to those girls, those ladies. We're going to talk to Jason Palmer about it at 10:30. Well, the next top of the morning topic, NBA playoffs, baby. The Denver Nuggets beat the Los Angeles Lakers 108-103 yesterday, taking a 2-0 lead, defending their home court. Jamal Murray, 37 points, 23 came in the fourth quarter, along with 10 rebounds for the game. He was on fire. Fire! I am on fire. And the Joker, another triple-double. Not a skinny, thin 15, 10, and 10. This dude had 23 points, 17 rebounds, 12 assists. Michael Porter Jr., 16.7 boards. And for LA, LeBron James and Austin Reeves each dropped 22. So now they head back to Tinseltown, and at the top of the hour, well, it's a few minutes, about 7-8 minutes or so, our guy Brandon Scoop B. Robinson from Bally Sports is going to join us. We're going to talk about this particular series. All right, I'm not a LeBron fan. I'm a basketball fan. Okay, I'm not. I love what he's done in the game, for the game, off the court. He's a phenomenal role model, father, husband. Well, I don't know about husband. I'm not with him, but I'm just not a fan of his as a basketball player. I respect what he's done. I love what he's done. Just not a fan of him as a player. It's not hate. It's just I'm not a fan. But we're going to talk, and never will I deny his greatness. All right, you know I'm MJ all the way, but I'm not going to deny that LeBron has taken what MJ has built and taken it to another level. All right, he's a billionaire, a basketball playing billionaire. Michael didn't become a billionaire until he became an owner. I mean, now he's a crazy. However, I am rooting. Let's go Denver. Let's go Denver. Let's go Denver. I like it a lot. Now you need what the problem with LA, they couldn't get one in Denver. That was the issue. The previous two series, they were able, because they were the last seed, the 8th seed, I think, or the lowest seed. They couldn't get a win, or they got a win on the home court or on the opposing team's court in the first two games in the last two series. So they came home with home court advantage. That's what they're trying to do here. Denver was not having it. Denver was not having it. Jamal Murray, 23 points in the fourth quarter. You talk about stepping up. That it doesn't get better than that, folks. 23 points in the fourth quarter. That's Michael Jordan type stuff. That's Kobe Bryant type stuff. The Lakers had the lead most of the game, a good part of the game, and the Nuggets came back. The Nuggets were able to come back, defend their home court. Now the upper hand is theirs. Now all the pressure is on LA. All of it. Because had you taken one, okay, you come back home. If you split, if you split at home, it's still 2-2. And now best out of three, but you've already shown you can win in Denver. But they didn't win in Denver now. Now you have to defend home court to make it a three-game series. You have to. Any misstep, and you're on the brink of elimination. But that's in the Western Conference Finals. In the Eastern Conference, that was last night. Tonight, game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Miami Heat and Jimmy G buckets. And the G stands for Gets. They're still in Boston. Tip-off 7:30 on TNT. The Heat lead the series 1-0. All the pressure, all that smoke belongs to Boston now. Boston cannot go back to Miami down 2-0. Cannot. You cannot go back to Miami because now all you're asking Jimmy to do is win one at home. You just didn't win one at home. You don't have to show up to game 5. If the Miami Heat win today. They'll be up 2-0. Going home to Miami. If Miami wins 1 at home, that's 3 wins. They split at home. It's still, that's 3-1. Going back to Boston. They didn't have to show up for game 5. We'll show up for game 6 back at home. But they will because they showed that they could beat them already. Huge game for the Boston Celtics. Huge. Huge. All the pressure is on them. All the pressure is on Boston. Just like all the pressure is on the Lakers, because yesterday was the game they had to get, and they didn't get it. Today is a game that the Celtics have to get. They have to get it. Otherwise, this series is perilously close to being over for Boston. Of the 5 remaining games, 3 of them will be in Miami. If Miami wins tonight, not a good thing. But we're going to talk to my man, Scoop B. Robinson, coming up on the other side of the break that we're going to take right now. Whew. A lot going on in the sports world this weekend, excuse me. So make sure you partake. Make sure you enjoy it. It's supposed to rain today. Cool. Stay in. Watch the White Sox. Watch the Cubs. If they get rained out, the Sox I'm talking about, just watch the Cubs. Catch another baseball team. Watch this. Watch power. Do what you want to do. But there's a lot of good sports to be. Didn't they just have the XFL championship game last week? All right. And now you got the USFL coming up this week. Where we at? Yes, the USFL tomorrow, 11:30. Pittsburgh at Memphis. That's on USA. And at 3 o'clock, Birmingham at Michigan. Not Birmingham, Michigan, because there is a city named Birmingham, Michigan, but Birmingham, Alabama at Michigan. And that's on Fox. So you got football action. You got the PGA Tour started this weekend already. That's on ESPN tomorrow. Let's see, today it's on ESPN as well. You got the Preakness tomorrow as well. Man, we got a lot of sports, baby. Let's get it in. We're going to get it in. So we're going to welcome my guy, Brandon Scoopy Robinson, on the other side of the break. So listen, folks, do not go anywhere. Do not go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Off the fake. Fields against the grain. Finds Jesse James. Field. With time. Delivers down the field. And Tom Murray. Still running. Fake one way. Fields stumbling. Trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Everybody in a work zone is someone somebody.
This is my mom. She works for KDOT.
This is my dad.
This is my mom.
This is my daddy.
This is my sister.
This is my daddy.
This is my son, Scott.
He was killed while working in a highway work zone. When you drive through a work zone, drive like a life depends on it. Because it does.
Order up. When I want to give up, I try to focus on getting to the next minute, then the next hour, and the next day.
It might not seem like it right now, but there are people out there like me who want to listen and support you for the long haul.
And I found someone to talk to, someone who listened.
You are not alone.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Murray lost it. Russell has it. Here comes Vanderbilt, already paying dividends.
Team you're playing, because D'Angelo Russell has proven he can score.
Jokic couldn't get it to go. Gordon gets the rebound and throws it back down. Here's the pace the Nuggets want to play. Brown kicks it out. Murray, three-pointer. With two. James cuts back door. Beautiful pass from Anthony Davis.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of ESPN. That was game 2 of the Western Conference Finals yesterday. Denver with a big win. Defending home court, all right, with a 108-103 victory. I watched this Denver team. Okay. I watched this Denver team and I'm like, why can't we? Or why can't Arturas Karnisovas create a team like that here? He's been here a couple of seasons now. Did he think that acquiring Vooch was going to be the same as having the Joker in Denver? Is that his thought? But we don't have any dog. We don't have any Jamal Murrays on the team. You know what I mean? We don't have any 3-point shooting. Denver's 3-point heaven. They're going crazy. Where are those guys? Where are those guys on this team? You created that team in Denver. Why aren't you creating a team very similar to that here in Chicago? Or is that your dude? We need 3-point shooting here. You got Aaron Gordon over there, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, KCP. All right, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, for those of you who don't know who KCP is. We don't have any guys like that here. Or do we think that Jokic, the Jokic comparison is Vooch? Is that what do you think? Pat Williams, is that what? I don't know. And it's frustrating because he did a great job in Denver. They're in the Western Conference Finals. We come here, we have a lot of expectations, and we're not seeing a similar blueprint. So I'm going to ask my first guest today, and I'm excited to talk to him. One, about the basketball that's going on in the conference finals. It is, I want Miami in 5 or 6, but I'll take 7 the way that these games are going. I'll take 6 or 7 for Nuggets Lakers. Just keep giving me this type of excitement, suspense, action, drama. It's good for sports. It's good for me. I love it. But my first guest, good friend of the program. Glad to have him back. I got to find out where he's at because my man is all over. He's in Golden State. He's in Denver. He's in Miami. He's in New York. They got him moving, baby. He's making that money, and I love it. He's a senior NBA insider for Bally Sports. You can find him on Twitter at ScoopB. Man, let's welcome back Shawn and Maya, our guy, Brandon Scoop B. Robinson. Papa, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, brother. How are you?
Man, I am awesome. Thank you for asking.
Of course.
I'd ask how you are, man, but you're all over the place. I love it, baby. I check out your podcast, and you're all over interviewing everybody. Dude, that's awesome. That's great stuff, man. That's cool. Good stuff.
Brother. Thank you. It's good to be seen. It's good to see you, and good to talk some hoops for sure.
Talk yesterday. Let's start with yesterday first and foremost. We'll save my Bulls for last. We don't want to start off with not. So, big game yesterday. Denver could not go back to LA with a split. That would give LA the home court advantage. Big time game. Jamal Murray pulled out his MJ with 23 in the fourth quarter. Talk to me about what happened yesterday to the Lakers down the stretch and why Denver was able to pull away.
It's like you said, definitely you saw Jokic step up. You saw Murray do what Murray does. I also just think that the Nuggets have just an expansive roster that I think not every team in the playoffs has had that luxury. And I think you saw that in the Phoenix series where the Suns were benchless because of the trade at the deadline. Not to say there weren't players on that team, but Denver's second unit could start. And you're seeing that in real time. I think in game one for the Nuggets, the Lakers had to make adjustments in game that the Nuggets didn't really have to make. The biggest change I think I saw in between game two and game one is I think the Nuggets forced the Lakers to play more of their up-tempo style. The Lakers, to me, are more of a up-tempo or more of a half-court team, and they were forcing D'Angelo Russell to shoot. And the combination of those two things were interesting. I also think the Lakers didn't get back on defense quite a bit. So you go to LA down 0-2. It's not the end of the world, but it's not a position you'd hope to be in. I know the Nuggets started off their series with the Phoenix Suns up 2-0, and Phoenix answered back at home. So it'll be interesting to see. But those are just some of my observations from the last two nights, but more specifically last night.
So how big is this game then tomorrow for them? I mean, Lakers have to win. You can't go down 3-0. How much pressure is on LeBron? How much pressure is on this Laker team in the whole? Anthony Davis. You go down 3-0. I mean, now they got 4 games to win one. How much pressure? And even if they do, how much or how phased will LeBron be? Because LeBron has been in pretty much every situation you can be in the NBA.
Well, I think pressure is a word that we as media people have used when you get to these situations. I think for a person like, you know how when you were growing up, your parent would have to tell you every step of the way what to do, and your parent would tell you, you got to get to the point where I don't have to tell you what to do, you just do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think LeBron is at the point where you have to tell him what to do. LeBron knows what he has to do. I think the team as a whole knows the position they're in, and they got to dig themselves out. I think that being home in Los Angeles definitely gives them that opportunity. And I think you take it a game at a time, a minute at a time, a second by a time. I know that a lot of players in the NBA routine is so big.
Mm-hmm.
You're home and you have a home game and you commute to the arena. You kiss your wife, your girlfriend, your kids, take them to school. You know what traffic lights to avoid. It's just a level of routine. And
Mm-hmm.
I think going to Crypto.com arena, there'll be some extra pep in their step to get it done. But I also think that this is true in this aspect. The national perspective of the Nuggets was many people haven't watched them. I spent some time with them during the season, and I was having this conversation with KCP in February about championship pedigree and championship. Like, are there things of this team that remind you of your Lakers team in 2020 in the bubble? And he was telling me in February, yes. Just the support staff they have, like, it's not just Jokic. Like, they've got DeAndre Jordan, who's been in deep runs. They have Even down to somebody like Ish Smith, who has played on just about every daggone team. Jeff Green, who's on that team and has gone all the way back, if I'm not mistaken, to his days with the Seattle SuperSonics. Like, he's been around. There's a lot of guys that are just like, this isn't just a young team. I think this is a coming of age team, and this is a team that's they themselves have had some disappointments in the playoffs. So I think this I use this analogy often, like, this reminds me of 2004 finals, where every game that the Pistons were kicking the Lakers' butt. Of course, this was, Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, Karl Malone Laker team. Everybody was saying, oh, well, the Lakers will get it together. Oh, Kobe's just having an off game. I think that was disrespectful to the Tayshaun Princes, who was a rookie at the time, the Ben Wallaces, the Chauncey Billupses, and more. Like, I think many people see Jokic and think he's the hottest thing smoking on that team. But he has a supporting cast. This is everything that Blazers team in the 2000s wishes that they were, with a second unit that could start. A more leaner, more disciplined version of a Blazers team that couldn't get it off the ground. This is, of course, Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire, Steve Smith, Scottie Pippen, Arvydas Sabonis, and more. Denver's where they're supposed to be. They earned it.
So this is their coming of age. Then you're saying they had a couple of early playoff exits. Obviously, they haven't won a title yet, and they just keep maturing and maturing and maturing. Jokic is just winning MVPs at a clip, but they got guys around him, is what you're saying. And now it's like, okay, now it's our time for us to take the throne.
Yep.
Whew. Man, I tell you, and again, it hurts me as a Bulls fan, because I'm looking at this team like, okay, where's our Gordon? Where's our Michael Porter Jr.? Where's our Murray? You know what I'm saying? Like, you built this AK over there, build it over here for us, because we need something over here in Chicago, because we're the third largest market in the country, and not making the playoffs or making the playoffs and getting blown out by Milwaukee is not a fun thing. I'm looking for deep runs in the playoff, but I digress. Let's talk about the Eastern Conference Finals. And guys, we're joined by Brandon Scoopy Robinson from Valley Sports, talking NBA playoffs right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. How much pressure is on? How much pressure is in the Eastern Conference Finals? Jimmy G goes into Boston, takes game one. Can they afford to leave Boston, head down to South Beach, down 0-2?
Nobody can. If it was Yosemite Sam's team versus Bugs Bunny's team, like, nobody wants to be down 0-2 going to the next round. But I think that the Heat and the Celtics are a different set of circumstances. In fact, when I look at this Celtics team this season, they remind me of the Lakers this season. Similarly in the respect of, last season, the Celtics were a lower seed and had to start to play every playoff series on the road, and weren't expected to do a thing, just like the Lakers were not expected to be in the position this season. The difference, I think, with the Celtics last season and this season is, you knew they were coming. You watched the tape. You knew what it was. And in some respects, I think they've had to kind of revert and dig deep back into what they were in the playoffs last season, because they coasted for a bit. And I think Philly was a test from Miami, but you would think that Miami, I don't think that Philly series should have went as long as it did. But Miami is a different animal, because they're doing it without Hero, Oladipo, and you got Max Strus, you've got Bam Adebayo, Caleb Martin, and others that some may consider pedestrians handling their business. And I think there's just a level of locked in that I've seen with not just Jimmy, but this whole team, that I like. I like a good underdog story.
This team is a team that I personally like. they take me back to the 90s style of basketball. They're physical, they're gritty, they fight, they rebound, they play defense. It's not about running up and down the court, shooting threes. And they get down and dirty. All right. You mentioned some of the guys, Strauss. Can they? And usually, role players, secondary players, don't play well on the road. All right. That's usually their job at home. They play much better. But this team seems to be getting it done. Can they do it one more time and go back to South Beach? Because if they go back to South Beach, I don't know if they're gonna leave, because they could sweep it. I don't think they'll sweep, but there's the opportunity to talk about those youngsters. I mean, the pedestrian players that you talk about. Max Strus, well, we saw him firsthand here in Chicago. He was with the Bulls, right? He was with the Bulls, and we didn't give him a contract. He was with our G team because he tore his ACL, I believe, and they saw him rehabbing. He stepped up. All these young guys that we're not used to, they're not. What happened to B? He'll probably log back in. But those youngsters, like Jimmy G, is not the only dude on that team. Jimmy G is not the only dude on that team, and it is playoff. Jimmy is different. Playoff Jimmy is different. All right, I think it's pretty safe to say that playoff Jimmy is different. I think he's the guy. The one thing that Shaq said that I was trying to figure out how to describe it. All right, I was trying to figure out how to describe it, and it was they play the same every game. They know who they are. And I think that's the thing. When you get a team as a coach, as an organization, as a general manager, you get a team, you're trying to find an identity of who you are. Okay? With additions, subtractions every year, you're trying to find out who the heck you are. Miami knows who they are. Miami's not going to play your game. Miami's going to play their game. They're going to fight. They're going to scrap. They're going to rebound. They're going to play defense. They're going to be a pain in your ass. They're not going to let you run up and down the court and fire threes. They're not going to let you drive to the hole and lay it in and finger roll a la George Gervin. They defend the rim. They close out on three-point shots. They're up in your face. They're physical. And that's one thing that I noticed, that in this generation of basketball players do not like players physical, to play them physical, which is why you see all the flopping. When you see, as soon as you see someone a foul, you're just jumping. Oh, I just got destroyed. Oh, it's the world's ending, a la LeBron James. It's, can you stay disciplined? Because that's the thing. Miami will stay disciplined. Miami will stay disciplined. They're not going to change how they play because they're up 1, up 2, down 1, down 2. They are not going to change the way they play. You know who they remind me of? Princeton. And I don't mean the way that they play. No, like the way Princeton would. I mean, they are stuck to their system. I think we got my man B back. B, how we do? We good?
Yes, you were talking about Max Strus.
Right. Talk to me about him and how big a role he can play on the road. Because then I got another question. I got a little fired up because I love me some Jimmy buckets, even though he's not with us no more. And it's still, I'm liking Max Strus, another Chicago guy from right around my way and from DePaul. But Max Strus, how big he's going to be tonight, or he could be tonight.
DePaul's own Max Strus definitely has been instrumental the last couple of seasons for them, and has stepped up in the absence of Oladipo and Tyler Hero. I think he's done well. I think Miami, like San Antonio, finds these diamond in the rough guys that have like 10 to 15-year careers. And he's just another example of that. So he stepped this play up, and you get additional playing time. So why not?
Talk to me about playoff Jimmy, because he's a different beast than regular season Jimmy, and we're seeing it. I mean, I think as Chicago fans, I think it's official. The Zach LaVine for Jimmy Butler trade did not go our way. Talk to me about playoff Jimmy and what kind of monster that dude is.
I mean, I think you said it. I think he's just a consistent taskmaster. I think, but I think he's always been that. I think, again, I made mention of the Miami Heat and finding diamonds in the rough. Jimmy, to me, has always been an afterthought in comparison to guys like LeBron, Kawhi, and others. If they're 1A, he's like 1C or 1D. Treated that way. And then when the playoffs come, oh, wow, he is actually 1A. It's like, I think Shaq said it best to me one time. He said, during his era, there was like the McDonald's menu of players. So like there's something for everybody: the filet of fish, the Big Mac, the chicken nuggets, the double quarter pounder, all those different things. And I think that rubric is still the same in today's NBA. I think everybody's just not the Big Mac, either personally or just in the eye of the professional beholders. Like I think Jimmy has been tried and true. I think he's a throwback to things we've seen in the 90s and the 80s. And I just think it stands out more. I think that also the biggest mistake that Philly made was not re-signing him. And they're going to regret that, because even Jimmy playing alongside Ben Simmons and Embiid, like that was a legitimate big three. I think, imagine a world where Doc Rivers was coaching that team. But look at Miami and look at what he's done with less of a support staff. That's the part that's most impressive, that he's done it with less of a support staff, and there's no knock on Bam Adebayo or Kyle Lowry at all. I mean, I read somewhere the other day that Kyle Lowry leads that team in blocks. Like, he's all hands on deck, getting it done. And I think that to me is what makes both he and that team so special. They are, you can still dress nice and not wear name brand. And
that's a really good analogy.
Be understated while still knocking the meeting out the park.
That's a really good analogy.
It is.
Wow, that's a really good analogy. And I love Miami. I know they beat us and knocked us out. And earlier in the last round, people were saying, well, the Bulls could be this. So I'm like, no, slow down. There's no way the Bulls would have advanced this far. I said, because the way that this team, and you came in, as I was saying, the one thing that Shaq said, I didn't know how to articulate it, and Shaq said it the best after the game. Miami's going to play the way Miami plays, period, point blank. Whether they're up 1, down 1, up 2, down 2 games, it doesn't matter. They are going to play their style of basketball every single night. Now, can you stay disciplined to play your style of basketball? That's the question. And most teams can't. Miami knows who they are, and they don't stray from that. And that's why, and they may not be the best team, but they're the best team that sticks to their type of game, and that will win more often than not. When you're trying to play your game and it doesn't work, or you're trying to play Miami's game, that definitely won't work. And that's why I like this Miami team and hope they get to the finals. I think that'll be great. If Jimmy gets a ring on his finger, what a story that will be. A guy who comes as a defensive stopper, works his way up to a scorer, works his way to a star, works his way to a superstar, and wins a ring. I think that would be phenomenal for Jimmy, but he's got a couple more games to go.
An understated superstar.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan was that.
True. But I think Tim still had a little more name. He was a little more polished. Like, Jimmy's not a face of the league. I think Duncan was. He was kind of like the back, like the third or fourth face of the league at the time. I don't think Jimmy's been the face of the league, and he deserves to be up there. He's not next to Steph or LeBron or anyone else.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the only two other people I can think of off the top of my head that have been MVP in the finals that would kind of fit, and one kind of fits, one kind of doesn't. Is Iguodala. Kind of doesn't fit
Mhm.
because Iguodala wasn't the face of that team when
Right.
they won, but Kawhi Leonard in San Antonio.
Yeah. Good stuff. Talk to me about my Bulls. Now we can finish up. It won't take long because then I'll get frustrated and I want to ruin my weekend. My bullies. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered with this team. Vooch is a free agent. He can walk. He said he's going to test the free agent market. What do you see with this team? Do you see them possibly trading DeMar? He probably gives you the most value back because you're most likely not going to trade Zach. You just gave him the max. But then what do you bring? I mean, we don't have any shooting. We don't have a point guard. He's probably on a 17th surgery or something, and that's frustrating. We don't have. What do we do? Where do the Bulls go from here? Where do they start?
I know that Vooch wants to stay in Chicago. I know that the price has to be right. I think the odd man out in this situation could be Kobe White this offseason. Kobe likes it in Chicago, but there's got to be that like, for example, a couple of seasons ago, Lonzo Ball was very close to being traded to the Chicago Bulls at the deadline when he was a member of the Pelicans. And Kobe White was who the Pelicans wanted. Imagine what the Pelicans would look like with Kobe White, at least scoring-wise and just being a part of a young squad. Like, you need to be in a situation where you're not having to dumb down yourself in order to accommodate other folks. He's not a traditional point guard. He's a lead guard that can score. And, at times over the years, has spelled Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball in critical moments, kind of like they're Malcolm Brogdon, but not really. And then when I say Brogdon, I mean his role in Boston, where he's playing a similar role. But I think this is going to affect him more than it's going to affect some of those other guys. I expect Vooch to stay. The DeRozan noise to me has always been just that noise. The Bulls team has missed Lonzo's presence. That team was supposed to be built for him to do what he does best, distribute and defend. Lonzo and I talked some time ago just about his health and taking his time to get it right. And that's seemingly what he's doing. But you wonder about the insurance policy that you'll have. In the meantime, they need a Lonzo type of point guard. Does that come from the draft? Does that come in free agency? Excuse me. That's the part that's tricky because I don't really think they need to tear up that team. I felt that way this season. There have been times where you look at this team and they look like they could compete with the Stars. And then other times, y'all compete with the Pistons.
They look like a rec league team sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that just that one guy makes such a huge difference. You put him in the lineup, you're top of the East for a majority of the year last year. Granted, guys were hurt and teams were struggling, trying to get their way. But nonetheless, you still were atop of the East. He goes out, your team falls apart. This year you start off, and you should have some comfort of playing without him because you played without him last year. And look, we still missed the playoffs. One guy really, it makes that much of a difference on this team, and we can't replace him.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen it with John Stockton in Utah. We've seen it with Jason Kidd during the Nets' run in New Jersey. Specifically, I watched that front and center. We've seen it even in today's NBA with LeBron and any team he's on. Even at the age of 38 years old, he's still never really had to change his game a ton. In Miami, he had to make some adjustments. But for the most part, ball is in his hands. He's scoring. He's drawing the double team and kicking out. But Lonzo Ball and that level of connectivity, both defensively and playmaking wise, were the two things that they missed greatly.
Last question before we let you go, man. I always love having you on. I love your insight because you're in the trenches there. Billy Donovan, is he part of the issue at all? And if he is, I know they gave him an extension, but could he be on the hot seat this season?
I've wondered why he stayed so long, but at the same time, I haven't, because I feel like he, unlike Doc Rivers, in some cases has, and even Monty Williams, there's an expectation that they're going to improve. I think he and Wes Unseld Jr. are in a very similar situation in their respective markets. He's good with front office. They trust him, but at some point, if it doesn't get done, they're going to turn on him, I feel. Because at some point, it's not the player's fault anymore. They're going to turn to the coach, or they're going to turn to the front office. So will this coming season be telling? It might. I don't like to call for people's jobs, but I do think that this team is lacking in certain areas that has to be fixed. And if players stop responding, then like for example, I looked at game 2 just like you did when the Nuggets were down to the Lakers, and Mike Malone basically was putting on a temper tantrum during a timeout in the huddle, and they heard him.
They responded. Yeah.
That, like, at some point, if players stop responding to you, you'll have to make some adjustments. We'll see. I know that he and Zach have had issues this season that they've worked out. And that's also just the par for the course for being an NBA team. Like, you're going to go through those peaks and valleys. But I do think that at some point, they got to figure it out. And I also just think that as much as we said this season that throughout the course of the season, many experts have said the East is the dynamic conference. It's wide open. It was wide open this season. So it's like, you really have a good draft and a good free agency. Chicago's not that off from having a good roster. That's why I think you should stay intact and not make hasty decisions. We'll see.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about our draft, because we got no picks this year, and next 2 years our second round's gone as well, so we're screwed, which is why we're chicken little over here. The sky's falling. But hey, real quick, and I didn't was going to ask you this, but it just meant, what about the Doc Rivers thing, dude? How'd you feel about that? Because I was surprised, because I was like, dude, I know Doc Rivers didn't get him out, but Doc Rivers didn't shoot like crap, in the fourth quarter, like James Harden did. And you talked about it. Sometimes you're going to have to, players got to play. And when they don't, it's got to be a fall guy. And it's usually not the players. How did you feel about the Doc Rivers getting let go?
I wasn't surprised, because it was talked since February. I got a phone call like a week before the All-Star break from somebody in the know. And they said 2 things are likely going to happen. They said, 1, Nate McMillan is going to get fired, and they're going to replace him with Quinn Snyder or Ime Udoka. And they said if Udoka doesn't go to Atlanta, he's either going to go to Washington or Houston. Snyder's in Atlanta. Udoka's in Houston. And they also said to me that if the Sixers do not make it to at least the finals, they're going to fire Doc Rivers. So no, I wasn't surprised. Philly is a Northeast city. They have a very short leash. And I think that they're looking to kind of retain Harden. And I don't know if this is a ploy to get more money. It seems like this prodigal son theme was brewing. And I do think that there are some other options out there. I know that Houston is still evening out their coaching staff. I know they just brought in Royal Ivey, who was an assistant with the Nets the last few seasons, and now I know that Ime is looking at 2 assistants that he had in Boston that are still there. But I also know that Houston is a place where he can kind of be himself, and I think I know there's also a relationship there with he and Udoka from their days being in Brooklyn. Udoka as an assistant and Harden as a player. But for Philly, if I'm Joel Embiid, if Harden leaves and then you fire Doc, I'm trying to get out of there. Leave.
Yeah. Yeah, and stars can do that. That's man. We got to have you back because I want to talk to you about the Greek Freak and him coming down 94 after they fired Budenholzer, and we'll see. But we got to have you back. Hey, man, great stuff as always. Do me a favor though, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Valley Sports. You can check out my work there. You can check out my podcast, Scoopy Radio. We have another big interview coming next week. In addition to that, check out my work. I have a partnership with Bovada. We're cranking out weekly interviews there, and just follow me on Twitter, Scoopy, as well as Instagram, and you'll see my stuff moving and brewing on the internet like always, and television. So thank you as always for the opportunity to be myself.
Man, good stuff, Papa. We'll be in touch soon. You had any of the conference finals?
Possibly. I definitely get the finals though.
Okay, cool, man. Good stuff. All right, man. We'll have you on soon, Papa. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
You too, brother.
Guys, that's Brandon Scoopy Robinson from Valley Sports. Man, great stuff. He said, heard him. He's in the know, baby. He got a call from somebody saying, hey, here's what's going to happen. And bam, that's what happened. Great stuff. NBA, always exciting. It's always great to talk to my man, Brandon. I'm getting the scoop from him. We're going to take a really quick break. And on the other side of the break, to get you on the other side of the break, our guy Jason, he's decked out. He's got his new background. He's fired up, and he's got the Sky shirt on. My man is rolling. We're going to talk a little Sky basketball as they open up the season tonight in Minnesota. Are they going to visit Prince's house or the Prince Museum? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to figure that out. We're going to talk to my man, Jason Palmer. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
At a time when the news seems as subjective as the partisan politics dividing this country, independent professional journalism has become a resource people need to get the honest and accurate information for their lives. That's why I created JCoyneReports.com. As a born and raised Chicagoan, I know this city better than anyone. So my investigative stories are all original, and they'll go deeper to expose the truth by using information obtained from public information databases and in-depth interviews with the movers and shakers. My future stories will introduce you to people and businesses who are changing the world, not just Chicago. My missing person stories will spotlight those who you don't hear about in the mainstream media who are often overlooked. If you want to hear my personal views on things around the world, check out my blog site, which is based off of factual information and my life experiences. There's also past episodes of my weekly sports podcast show, What's Up Cuz, that I host with my real-life cousin, Lance Irvin. So if you're looking for all this information and more, check out JCoyneReports.com and follow me on Twitter at JCoyne.
Every day, we take steps to keep the people we love.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. It's whatever we can use for motivation. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of our guys, to be honest, they may not admit this or not. You win game 1 of the playoffs, and all everybody talked about was the Lakers. Let's be honest. That was a national narrative was, hey, the Lakers are fine. They're down 1-0, but they figured something out. No one talked about Nikola just had a historic performance. He's got 13 triple-doubles now, 3rd all-time.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at Sports Zone Chicago. You know what? He's right. All they talked about was the Lake Show. All they talked about was, oh, they're good. They'll come back. They'll do this. They'll do that. But that's the narrative. That's the way that this is how you shape a narrative. A lot of times you don't give people credit that they deserve. And Denver deserves credit. All right. The Lakers came back. They came back with everything, with a whole bunch. They brought out the hammers and were leading a lot of the game yesterday. Denver took it. They did the okey doke. All right. Big swings by Denver. Big swings by the Lakers. And then Denver held them off. They were able to come back, defend home court. Now, the pressure's on Lakers. You lose today. You lose game 3 at home. It's over. It's over. It's just a matter if it's game 4, 5, or 6. It won't go 7. But speaking of hoops, the basketball season is starting tonight for the WNBA and our Chicago Sky. So my guy, Jason Palmer, who was at practice the other day, is going to join us. We're going to talk about what to expect from this upcoming season. He's the co-host. He's the co-host of one of the shows here on Sports Zone Chicago. That's What's Up, Cuz. He hosted with his cousin Lance C. Irvin, and he is you can see it every Monday, 6 to 8 p.m. Central Time, right here on Sports Zone Chicago. You can find him on Twitter at @JCoyden. Guys, welcome to our show. My guy, Jason Palmer. Jason, what's up, Papa?
Hey, man, happy Friday to you. And, man, summertime shy, kind of sort of weather. It's 70. That counts as summer for Chicago, right?
You were at the Sky practice. They start tonight up in Minnesota against the Lynx. It's going to be a different team. All right. There was a mass exodus. 4 of the 5 starters are gone. Candace Parker's gone. Annie Quigley's gone. Courtney Vandersloot's gone. Like, man, dude, whew. And Coach James Wade just barely got in. One more player yesterday before the deadline. What's her name? Sika Kone got her in just before the roster. Dude, he's putting stuff together last minute. What can we expect from this team if this just by the optics of having added players literally minutes before the deadline is due?
I think we can expect what happens when you are adding players minutes before the roster is due. That's what I expect this year for the Sky. Look, fans, we have to temper our expectations for this team. For the past 3 seasons, the Sky have actually helped us get through the baseball season here in Chicago, without a doubt. As disappointing as the White Sox have been the last couple of seasons, the Cubs the last 3 seasons, the Sky was a nice alternative to have, culminating with the championship that they got in 2021. But, last year's team, a veteran team, went pretty deep in the playoffs, couldn't quite make it. 2020 in the bubble, they started making their run. People really started getting interested in WNBA because you were kind of forced to. There wasn't a lot going on during the pandemic, and the WNBA definitely benefited from that. And here in Chicago, we just happened to have an up-and-coming team at the time. But look, you can't keep living in the past. You have to be realistic about what happened. Right now, the Sky have Kalia Copper is still there. She'll definitely be the leader of this team. And Dana Evans, who I spoke with as well at the practice on Wednesday night, they will be the leaders of this team. Dana Evans is originally from Gary, Indiana, played at Gary Westside. GI, right? And so she's very excited to take over the role that Courtney Vandersloot has held down for so many years with the Sky being the starting point guard. Even though Coach James hadn't officially announced his roster yet, we fully expect Dana to be the starting point guard tonight in Minnesota. And I mean, Shawn, you and I and Lance were talking about it last year during the playoffs when we saw Vandersloot just getting baked on defense, and we were all saying you probably got to play Dana Evans a little bit more because she's a younger player, a little bit quicker on defense. And so I talked to her about that, and she said she is fully ready to step in her role. She is excited about the opportunity to have. And as a coach, that's what you want. You want a person to have that next person up mentality. And when it's your time to shine, you got to take the baton and run with it. And I think Dana is ready to do that. She definitely has the talent. And she says she feels a lot more comfortable this being her third year with the Sky in this offense. And the franchise has also shown some confidence in her as they picked up her fourth-year option earlier this week. So she is signed through next year.
Okay. I was talking about this earlier. There've been a big number, surprisingly big number of cuts of WNBA players who were drafted this year. Bria Beals from South Carolina was cut. Monica Zanano from Iowa was cut. Then there are obviously some cuts from people drafted last year. How important is it for this team to expand? Because I looked at it like this, like you are losing people. All right. I know you're not going to get the whole Iowa fan base to start watching. I got to remember where Monica Zanano got drafted. You're not going to get the whole Iowa fan base, but you're going to get some just to watch her play. The more you're doing, the more you're cutting girls who are coming from big programs and big followings, the more you're hurting yourself, because women's college basketball is a hell of a lot more popular than the WNBA, and their followings are staunch. They will follow their people to wherever the hell they go. And you're losing a faction of it. If you're trying to you're trying to grow this league, how important is it to start expanding sooner? Because the college basketball is at its highest, and you want all these girls getting into the WNBA, but there's only, I'm not a math major, but I do remember 12 times 12 teams and 12 people per team. That's 144. That was the last one at the lower right-hand corner in the column of 12. All right. I remember, damn it. Okay. I memorized those suckers like the son of a gun. You gotta add more slots. And the only way you add more slots is more teams. How is the WNBA gonna, address this, getting more talent in? When can we expect expansion from this league?
Well, first off, shout out to your mom for making you get the multiplication tables just like my mom did. It was all posted up on my wall. And you're right, 12 times 12 was in the bottom right corner, 144. So
1 through 6, 7 through 12 on the bottom.
So good job, Shawn's mom, for making him do his multiplication tables. Yeah, Shawn, it's the question we're all asking, and we don't have an answer. And that's the sad part. Players are getting cut because there just aren't the numbers. They're not the spaces available. And so that was one of the questions we posed to Coach Wade, as he was still in the process of filling out his roster. Like, well, how active can we expect the Sky to be on the waiver wire? And he said, it's a little different in the WNBA because there's already so much talent in the league. And then you're putting even more talent on that waiver wire. And he said that you got to think about not just the talent, but who's going to be a good chemistry fit. What is your injury situation looking like, which is also hurting the Sky right now. So it's not simple as going on there on the waiver wire and picking someone up. And then shortly after he said that, he went on the waiver wire and picked somebody up. So I think what makes the WNBA also such a unique league is because of the time of the year that they're playing. So you still got some of the top players are still maybe playing with some of their overseas teams. If those teams are in the playoffs, obviously nobody's playing in Russia right now. That care of that one. and a lot of people are not playing in China either. So China and Russia leagues have kind of been shut down. So you do have more players available at the start of the season, but there's still a few playing in Turkey and some couple other places out there. So they're taking up those roster spots. But it is essential to me for the WNBA to expand. You have to get this thing to at least 15 players within the next year or two, because you need to add the jobs. And I think you hitting the nail right on the head when you say these players have followers in college. I
Big
mean,
time.
look what Angel Reese has. Look what Angel Reese has. She's still in college. If I was her, I would never graduate. I'd be like, don't I have 12 years of eligibility or something? Because
Yep.
she's making so much money with the NIL deal, and she's got so many followers. The Sky cut their second round pick, Crane Trailer. She got cut. She was a player who they drafted the second round this year. She didn't make the team, so she's gonna cut. So there's talent out there. We will see what happens. Now, the other thing that makes the WNBA such a unique situation is, this is a women's league. So right now, Ruby Hurd is off on maternity leave. Even for the Sky and for Phoenix, Skylar Diggins just had her second child, I think, like last week. So Skylar won't be back with the Mercury at the beginning of the season as well. So, there are all these little different dynamics that you have to consider with the WNBA. And I think they have to do a combination of two things. I think you got to expand to more teams, and I think you need to expand the rosters. I don't see why they haven't expanded the rosters out to 15. I know there's some economics involved with this, but again, you got to invest more money into the product. And I think you're going to get a bigger return because let's just be honest. They're starting their 27th year of the WNBA. It's never been as popular before as it is today. And so the product is speaking for itself. The people are tuning in, they're watching, even, guys who wouldn't watch women's basketball, they'll tune in for a few games. And I think the TV contract deals that they have are great as well. The Sky will be, you can see all their games locally on the U and on the Marquee Network. And then they'll also have a couple games on nationally televised games on ABC and ESPN. So, that is the question that we keep posing to the WNBA, and we're just not getting an answer. And I just hope they don't fumble this opportunity to continue to grow the sport.
Yeah, they hope they better not. And guys, we're joined by Jason Palmer. He's co-host of one of the shows here on Sports Zone Chicago, and that's What's Up Cuz, that he hosts with his cousin Lance C. Irvin every Monday night, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you tune in and follow him and watch him and his cousin. They go at it. They are in the know. Chicago basketball royalty, man. They get it damn near every week. You're right, man. I'm looking forward to it. You're right. It's at its peak. And I'm not saying it's not going to get higher, but it's as high as it's ever been. And you got to strike now. And if you strike now, all right, then you need a partner. So you're going to need someone to create a team or to, buy into a team. There's going to be something. How do they go, or how do you think they decide who the next city is? And if it was up to you, where would the next city be?
So that's a great question. I think actually the state you just mentioned to be your next team. Somewhere in Iowa. So what the WNBA has to do is you have to look where there are these large, insanely fanatic bases in these small college towns. Because trust me, you put a WNBA team in Iowa, they're going to be the team for Iowa. Iowa doesn't have any professional
teams,
sports teams. You put a team in Omaha, Nebraska. Nebraska's got a huge following of Cornhuskers football, basketball. The College World Series is played there for baseball. I mean, it is huge. I think Iowa and Nebraska are two states you need to look at. You can't look at this and say, oh, we got to get in the largest markets. You can only do so many LAs, New York, Dallas, Houston. You can go in those markets, but there's only so many of those. But if you go with places where they don't have a professional sports team, I guarantee you those people will come out and support that team like you have never imagined. And especially if you're taking players from the large state universities from those states and putting them in your league. Now you're bringing someone who already has a following. This is the politics of sports that we often kind of gloss over, but it is the reality of sport. So I think they should be looking in the Midwest. I think you should be looking at like an Iowa. I think you should be looking at a Nebraska. I think.
What about in the Midwest, in the Mid-South, or like in the Carolinas? one, it's a basketball haven. All right, Tobacco Road. Two, now the Dawn Staley. I mean, first of all, UNC is always their women's basketball team is still a powerhouse. There's nothing crazy, but they're still rabid fan. Put it this way, they're still rabid fans following that basketball. But now the Dawn Staley's down in South Carolina, tearing stuff up. That following has grown, has multiplied crazy. What about down in New Orleans? Now that Kim Mulkey is down there in LSU. Those places that you talked about have good college basketball teams. God forbid one of the teams drafts one of their stars from the state, because we know that never happens. Now you're bringing that, like you said, you're bringing that fan base from LSU right to the New Orleans team, right from South Carolina, right to the Carolinas team. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be South Carolina. It just could be the Carolina Dream or the Carolina whatever, and it represents North and South Carolina. And that would be, I think that would be a good spot for a couple good spots for them to just bring the fan bases right, already intact, rabid fan base. Why not?
I agree. And so, and to speak on what you're saying, Swin Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer Swin Cash, is currently a high level position with the New Orleans Pelicans, the NBA organization. But I think Louisiana would definitely be a prime target with Kim Mulkey down there just bringing the championship. You got Angel Reese, who's getting ready to come out next season. New Orleans definitely will be a spot. You will definitely, or even if you don't want to do New Orleans, let's say you do Baton Rouge or kind of any of those other areas down there in Louisiana. Angel Reese has got 1.1 million followers right now on her social media program. You'd be a fool not to make a draft.
Harness that.
Right. Make New Orleans the number one pick as the new draft team and get Angel Reese down there. That makes a lot of sense. You spoke about the Carolinas. I could see Charlotte. I could also see South Carolina in Charleston. Charleston is a growing city. It's where my ancestors are from. Everybody knows that. I go down there. My mama and my daddy from Charleston. So all my cousins and them, they down there. They and them fools be calling me, could you get us tickets, cuz? So I definitely think the Carolinas are a spot you could consider. Louisiana, Iowa, Nebraska. That's why I'm saying it's not just add one team, it's add 2 or 3 teams at this point.
Yeah,
it's not 1 or 2. I think you could probably get away with adding 4, and just that way you'll have 16 and you could break the conferences down more evenly.
Right.
And 8. So we'll see what the WNBA does, but it's just going to be interesting. Then another state I'll mention, just because we're getting ready to talk about this next player for the Sky, I also would strongly recommend that they look at Tennessee, man, whether it's Nashville, Knoxville, either
Memphis.
way, Memphis, Tennessee got a huge women's basketball following thanks to Pat Summitt, rest in peace, Coach. But it's got a huge women's basketball following, and so I think Tennessee could also be considered. But I'll say that because the Sky, they made a splash in free agency. They signed Isabel Harrison, who played her college basketball at the University of Tennessee, and we were expecting Isabel to be a big part of this team this year. And actually, we were lining her up as a guest on What's Up, Cuz. And Isabel unfortunately suffered a knee injury. The team has announced that she will be out for an extended period of time. They wouldn't say how long. We don't know the extent of the injury, but Isabel was a player they were really counting on, and to not have her going into the season is something that's really going to hurt James Wade here. And we'll see what they can do with this. But Isabel will not be with the team for an extended amount of time. So, Coach Wade, I'll say this, going to practice, this is the most I've ever seen James West in the years that I've known him. This was my first time meeting him in person. He also says hello to you and Maya as well. We're forming a relationship with the Sky to bring more of their people on our network of shows here on Sports Zone Chicago. But you can see the stress on James's face, man. He is not just the head coach, but he's also the general manager. So, he's wearing 2 hats here. And so that's already stressful enough. And then he's dealing with injuries. He's got a player who's off on maternity leave. And God bless Ruthie and her new child. So this is going to be a very challenging season for Coach Wade. I think it's going to be the most challenging that he's had in his time here in Chicago. And we will see what happens. Again, being at the practice yesterday and being able to see them firsthand and seeing the players move around, you can tell that right now they don't have the chemistry. They just don't have it. You put that large influx of players in there, it's going to take some time for everybody to get used to everybody on court and, hey, where are you going to be playing? Hey, where are you going to be playing? But, the ladies are working hard. They're working to get things together, and we'll just see kind of where it goes here. But I think the fans have to realize that 2021 was a great season. It is over. We will always be able to celebrate that 2021 championship, but it's probably going to take a couple years for them to rebuild this thing with the Sky. And I'm just going to be there for all of it because I enjoy covering the WNBA. I like the talent that these ladies possess. And right now, again, with our baseball teams being where they are, I need something else to cheer for right now in this city. So we'll see what the Sky can do, Shawn. And, we're always appreciative of our coverage here on Sports Zone Chicago and how we try to highlight a lot of different sports and highlight our different teams here in Chicago. So it'll be interesting. And to see the full report on the Chicago Sky, you can go to my website, jcordenreports.com. I will have my story up within about a half hour, which is going to preview the season because the Sky, they will tip off tonight up in Minneapolis against the Minnesota Lynx.
Jason, great stuff, Papa. You have a good weekend, but before you go, let everyone know where they can find you online. I know you said jcordenreports.com, but let them know your show, let them know your Twitter handle, let them know where they can find you.
So on Twitter, you can find me at JAYCOYDEN, Jay Coyden. Check out us on What's Up Cuz every Monday night at 6 o'clock from 6 to 8 p.m. We will be having a show this week as well. We will not be live, but we will have a show this week. So look forward to that. We're going to have more exciting guests, and we'll be talking a lot about the NBA playoffs and what's going on with that. That's going to be interesting. We may be talking about the NBA finals by the time we get the money, the way this thing is looking.
Man, who are you telling?
We'll see if Denver can sweep the Lakers. I never thought that was going to happen, but, we'll see, man. But, tune in every Monday night, man.
Great stuff, Papa. We'll see you on Monday.
See you Monday. Have a good weekend, y'all.
All righty. Guys, that's Jason Palmer from What's Up, Cuz. We're going to take a quick break, and guess what? On the other side of the break, man, I am fired up. I'm fired up to talk to my man, Jacob Infante, because, listen, the draft's over. The UDFAs are signed. The rookie mini camp was happening. They took their pictures already. You know how, I don't know if I want to say crazy. People were mad at Darnell Wright for taking his promo pictures with sleeves on. I'm looking at Twitter, I'm like, you're mad? And the guy didn't want to, he didn't want to come out and say it, but I get it. Like, you're a lineman. Linemen don't ever wear sleeves. But you don't come into Chicago in an outdoor city. I mean, outdoor city. I mean, we play outdoors. Of course, the city's outside, knuckleheads. But an outdoor city and wear sleeves inside. So I get it, but people are getting in fights and arguments and Twitter battles over this. Dude, it is this fan base is rabid. They are passionate. Every little thing you do, they have something to say. We're going to talk to our guy from Windy City Gridiron, Jacob Infante, on the other side of the break, folks. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Got it done here. Ouch! And we're gonna make sure you lit this time. Ouch! You're not gonna get me this time.
Ow, Manny!
Whoops! Let's try an easy one.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips put together by my man, Steve Weekly. Great stuff. That was Roshan Johnson. And a lot of talk about him. I was on a podcast last night, and we were talking about him as well. They're a little more upbeat, some people are saying he's overhyped. It's too much, whatever, right? Good to have our draft picks having a lot of conversation. Okay. Good conversation. And of course, where there's good, there's always going to be bad. Very rarely you're going to find a draft pick where everyone's like unanimous in their decision. People are like, well, you should have got an edge rusher instead of Darnell Wright. You got to rush a passer. Okay, I get it. It's a valid point. But at this point, the hay's in the barn. Okay. The hay's in the barn. There's still some things you can do. Yeah. But my next guest, he and I are going to talk about this, and dude, I'm getting fired up already. I haven't even started talking to him yet. I'm just thinking about this. Talking Bears gets me going. All right. I love this team. I'm a Bear fan through and through. And talking Bears is something that I enjoy. And this guy is the lead draft analyst for Windy City Gridiron. You can find him on Twitter at Jacob Infante 24. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya. Jacob Infante. Jacob, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, Shawn. Appreciate you having me, man.
Dude, you just graduated, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah. No, just last week, actually, a week ago today. So,
congratulations, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So I'm a lot going on. It's a exciting time for sure, but that's making up for the fact that there isn't a whole lot going on with the Bears right now. So I'm certainly not complaining. That's for sure.
Well, after the rookie minicamp, there really isn't anything going on. We're just kind of waiting on pins and needles. Does he sign? Do we trade for someone? Do we sign a free agent? Do we, get someone off the street? There's just a lot of hope and a speculation. We haven't talked since the last time we talked was before the draft. So talk to me overall. Give me your. We'll talk about it in the broad sense. Give me your grade for the draft. Just that first, and we'll go into specific picks after that.
Yeah, so I think that if I had to give a grade like right now, just off of my own personal board, I'd probably give it a B+.
Okay.
I think that, Darnell Wright was a very good pick in round 1, and I love what they did in day 3. Literally the only thing that's holding him back is I think that I personally would have done day 2 a little bit differently. But in the grand scheme of things, you filled a lot of needs. You added a lot of really good young talent. And I think this roster's a lot deeper and has a lot more of an encouraging future than it had heading into the draft. So I think the big thing first and foremost is you got an offensive tackle. You got a guy who's going to start day 1. You fix that. You fill that up. So I think that's the most important thing to come out of this. But you also got a handful of, quality talents on both sides of the football. So Overall, I thought it was a good draft. So B+ is probably what I'm going to stick with right now.
Why did you give it a B+ instead of an A? I'm going to see what your thought process is, because I gave it a B+ as well. I said a B to B+. My ceiling would be a B+, but B or B+ right now. But why did you give it only a B+ and not an A- or an A like some people gave it?
Yeah, so I think that looking for an A, I personally would have done that round 2, round 3 stretch a little bit differently. I think that Tyreek Stevenson was my favorite pick of the bunch. I think that you needed to get a corner, and you solidified your secondary. If Jalen Johnson doesn't come back, then corner isn't nearly as much of a need. But if he does, then you've got a complete secondary. You don't have to touch that for a while. Then you're also looking at Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens at defensive tackle. I thought Pickens was a little bit of a reach. I personally had him as a 4th-round talent, and they took him with the first pick in the 3rd round. So just off of my own board, I didn't think the value was great. But at the same time, I understand why they took him as high as they did. You're just looking at the length, the size, the athleticism. He's a bit raw. I'm not going to deny that. But the ceiling is high enough that you could justify taking him a little bit earlier than where I had him. And then with Dexter, I think he's going to be a quality starter as well. This is just me. I really liked John Michael Schmitz, the center out of Minnesota. And him among a handful of other players who are available on the board, I thought were fantastic value. Dexter, I thought was solid value. So, again, he wasn't the pick I would have made. But you're also looking at one of the worst defensive lines in the NFL, and now you added 2 young guys with high athletic ceilings in Dexter and Pickens. So I don't necessarily know that you're going to look at I just totally blanked with where I was going. But that rarely happens to me. Dang. All right.
Well, I gave it a B+. I gave it a B+ because they didn't attack the edge, and it didn't have to be in the first pick. It could have been in the 2nd or even a 3rd or even day 3. Just give me an edge. And I know you got some UDFAs and stuff like that, but give me an edge. Give me a draft. Spend a draft pick on an edge for me, and I think I would have given it an A. Obviously, we can't truly grade this draft until they actually perform. But for him acquiring the talent to fill specific holes, him addressing the needs, I think he got them. He got almost all of them except for the edge. Had he got an edge, I would have given it an A. Initially, I would have given it an A. But that's why I gave it a B+, because you didn't attack that edge. You didn't address the edge in the draft where you can get a good player. So that's why I went. But everything else, man, I was on a podcast last night, and I was saying I love everything he's done. And we looked at the depth chart, and there's competition everywhere. Jacob. I don't know what I was going to say. There's competition everywhere. And to me, that is why I gave that a B+, because you drafted guys and they're going to compete. And if they don't win the starting gig, guess what? They will most likely be in a rotation. I'm looking for 4 to 6 guys, maybe even 7 to be contributors. Like legit contributors, not just special teams, although that's a very important phase of the game too, but legit contributors on offense, defense this year.
Yeah, I think that's a fair expectation. I mean, you're looking at, I think Dexter and Pickens especially, I don't know if either of them are going to start week 1, but they'll definitely be in the rotation. And then down the line, I think there's a chance for them to take that job. And I think, Wright's going to start right away. Stevenson's going to start right away. And then a little bit farther down, you look at Tyler Scott, who, the Bears have a bit of a crowded wide receiver room right now, which is literally the exact opposite problem they had last year. So it's a problem I'll take 100%. And Roshan Johnson, again, I don't know what he was doing, falling as far as he did to 115. I think that, especially if he went somewhere other than Texas, you're looking at him as a consensus top 5 running back in this class.
Right.
So even with, you've got Khalil Herbert, you've got Deontay Foreman, you have a talented Chicago backfield, but I think Roshan Johnson's going to be able to carve out a niche for himself in that offense. And then Noah Sewell, I don't think he's going to start right away. simply because, Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, they're not going anywhere.
Right.
And Jack Sanborn, I think after last year, deserved a shot to be the starting Sam linebacker. And, they're not going to be in base. They're not going to have 3 linebackers all the time. So even when they do, I think Sanborn might be the guy that they go with. But Sewell down the line, I think, is starting upside, absolutely. And especially going off of what we saw from him in 2021, I think he looked a lot more fluid. He looked a lot more dynamic. His 2022 tape wasn't bad at all. It was still pretty good in the grand scheme of things, but
it wasn't a 21 tape.
Exactly. So that's probably why he fell to the 5th round as it was. But if you can convert him back to what he was in 2021, that's a first round pick you were looking at. And he's someone that I personally had as a first round grade, granted, very, very early in the pre-draft process, and having a down year that did knock him a bit down my board. But seeing how he tested athletically, you can see that, all right, maybe that athletic ability is still there. And it was just a new defense that Oregon was going with, which, they did undergo a scheme change, and maybe he wasn't necessarily familiar and comfortable there. So a lot of different factors, but I think those guys, if not, obviously, if not on special teams, I think either of them, any of them on offense or defense could end up stepping into a solid enough role.
I'm glad you mentioned Noah Sewell because I like him. I watched him, and I'm like, this guy's not really fast. Like, he hustles. He's got a motor. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. He's and I've said it plenty of times on this show, but I said it again last night. He's the guy that you make sure you don't cut back one too many times because he's coming.
Yeah.
Right? You cut back that one extra time, you're getting earholed. All right. And as a former running back, trust me, getting earholed is not fun. not for a 245-pound dude running a 4.6. All right, and you literally cutting back right into him. That's not fun.
Yeah,
that's called concussion, white spots that starts flashing in your. Believe you me, that brings back memories. Just those white flashes, like, oh damn, I gotta pull it together because I only got 20 seconds for the next play. But what I do see is a motor. What I do see is violence. What I do see is good hand violence, good hand technique.
Yeah,
I said I like him. What I think the Bears are going to do, and Coach Williams can do now, you can still run a 4-3, but now he could be your edge. He could be a defensive end. Now you can come stunts with him. Now, defense, you're not dealing with a defensive lineman, but you're dealing with a faster defender that you're going to have to work on. And if you don't get that twist or that stunt, or if you're used to a bigger, more powerful guy, and in comes a little smaller, quicker, faster guy, it could, and just one play, one play here, one play there, one play here, one play there, it really could screw it up. It could be a key third down. I like him in maybe like a NASCAR package. You get some smaller guys in there, like the Giants did back in their Super Bowl run. I just think that Coach Williams, and talk to me about Coach Williams, he's got a lot of toys to play with. He's got, you talked about Zach with two C's and Dexter. Those guys can be almost interchangeable, the 1 and 3. All right, you got Travis Bell, who's a guy who his takeoff is good. Now we can see if it can translate into this level because he played at a smaller level in college. He's got a lot of toys that he can use. Talk to me about how do you think Coach Williams is going to use all of these toys, because we haven't even gotten to the secondary yet.
Yeah, so I think there's versatility is going to be the name of the game. Like you mentioned, I think both the D tackles are pretty interchangeable where they can line up. I mean, I personally have Dexter as a 1 and Pickens as a 3, but I've seen Dexter thrive from, a 3 technique in certain packages. I've seen Pickens kick inside as a 1 or a nose or even as far out as a 5. So there's really a lot of different alignments that you could utilize with those guys alone. Sewell, I think, is one of the better blitzing linebackers in this class. And I think when you have his size and his straight line quickness, I mean, it makes sense to project him in some packages as an edge rusher. So, I'd like to see, obviously, if he can add a little bit more in terms of his hand usage and the arsenal he has as a pass rusher. But even with that said, just his size and his speed alone, I think he could be one of the more valuable blitzing linebackers in this class. And he plays with a high motor. He plays his ass off. So I think that's something that's especially very important. And even if, instinct, sometimes he can be a little bit more reactive than he is instinctive, but I think that's something that can develop in due time. And I think especially last year in 2021, I should say, we saw a lot more of like that quick processing, whereas this past year, it was clear he didn't look super comfortable. So again, that's something you might want to chalk up to new defense, new scheme. But yeah, and then just along that defensive front, and Travis Bell, he's a guy who's going to be, interesting to watch to see if he can crack the roster. I think that, with the 2 rookies and then with Justin Jones and Andrew Billings, I think that those guys are pretty set on the roster. But if they want to carry a 5th, which I think is possible, I think Bell is going to have a good chance. And obviously, Ryan Poles thinks the world of him as a person, and tested very well. He's got a quick, explosive off the ball. So I think that there's a decent chance where even if he doesn't make it to the active roster on game days, he might be on the team and then just be inactive. But regardless, I mean, the fact that you're talking about all these new additions, it's a lot different from what it was last year. And yeah, the defensive line, I won't say it's going to be great this year because, you're stepping in rookies, and then realistically Justin Jones and Andrew Billings, they're decent players. They're probably high-end rotational guys or low-end starters, and then edge rushers still a need. But it's still a better defensive line than it was last year. And when you factor in all the upgrades at linebacker and, the upgrade at corner and the future development of some of the younger guys they have in that secondary, I think the defense is going to be a lot better. So Alan Williams, I think that there are some times where he got a little bit vanilla in his play calling, but that's not necessarily surprising considering what he had to work with last year. So I'm excited to see what he can do with a better group. I think that there's going to be a lot more opportunity to move guys around, a lot more chances to, kind of confuse opposing offenses and, maybe I'm trying to think of the right word, I guess, disguise different coverages and, put on like exotic blitz packages. I think these linebackers are much more prepared to do that than the linebackers last year. So yeah, no, I think there's a lot to like and a lot to be excited about with that group.
I'm glad you said it because that's exactly what I said yesterday on the podcast that I was on. I'm trying to think of exactly what you're talking about, what you said, but the opportunities that he has. Oh, is the secondary with the pass rush.
Yeah.
We had 10 sacks as a group from the D line. Just, and Philly had 4 guys on the line that had 10 sacks each.
I mean,
okay. So we saw this group, the secondary, making plays, a lot of pass breakups the last few weeks of the season. They finally got their footing. They were comfortable. They went through the growing pains of a rookie season, and they came out of it on the other end, and they came out of it as productive cornerback DBs.
Yeah.
Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Gordon, even Jalen Johnson when they decided to throw it to his side. A lot of pass breakups, a couple of picks. So now you get a pass rush, and I'm not putting them with the Steel Curtain or the 85 Bears or the Ravens. I'm not putting them there at all. I'm saying the pass rush is improved. When the bar was very low, but it's still improved. And if that happens with the upgraded linebacker, so now you can't get a deep middle shot because we have Edmonds who can get down the field. That window for a deep middle shot is a lot tighter. We have a ball hawking free safety. I really like the potential for this secondary and this defense to surprise a lot of people. The Bears are going to surprise a lot of people. People who don't understand football wouldn't have said what you said. Where you said, all right, the improvement of the linebackers, improvement of this. People who don't get football don't understand that, and they don't. This is why, the Bears are going to win 6-7. I'm excited about it. I said they're going to win double digits, 10, could be 11. Perfect in a world of a perfect storm where everything goes right, maybe 12. But I'm thinking 10 is where I'm at. I love it. Talk to me about the DBs that they drafted. So you got Tyreek, the cornerback from Miami, but you also got a cornerback from Minnesota. You also drafted Williamson from Stanford. How much do you see? Are they depth but also how soon before they take over, because Jalen Johnson's coming up on a contract. Eddie Jackson's going to be 30. Talk to me about that, and how Ryan Poles is not just bringing in talent, but talent that can replace the older talent every year. Seems like every year.
I'm interested in seeing what Terrell Smith especially does. I think that you're in the 5th round, especially late in the 5th round, you're taking a shot on tools, and he's someone, got long arms, he's athletic, he's big, he's physical. I think there's some deficiencies in his game as a processor, and I think, the hip fluidity can improve a little bit, but the sheer speed that he brings and the catch radius and the ability to compete at the catch point is definitely encouraging. And I think he fits the kind of play style that Eberflus wants in his defensive backs. I think he's going to be more depth. He's going to push Kindle Wilder for being the top corner, the go-to corner whenever someone gets hurt. And then you're also looking at, you mentioned Jalen Johnson. His contract expires. Kindle Wilder's contract expires at the end of the year. So that's
but Jalen Johnson's got that shoulder that keeps messing up. So you can't expect him to play 17 games this year.
No, absolutely. So I think that Smith was a real good flyer to take in round 5. Maybe not as polished or maybe as high of a ceiling as a Roshan Johnson or a Noah Sewell or a Tyler Scott, the other guys they took on day 3. But I still think that there's potential for him to be, if not a solid starter, then a valuable special teamer and a good depth piece. And Kendall Williamson, I think they're going to put him at safety. I think he's someone who's going to compete for a roster spot, especially they haven't re-signed DeAndre Houston Carson, which I don't know at this point they haven't. So it makes me wonder, are they going to do it at this point? So either way, you're looking at Elijah Hicks and Kendall Williamson, at least in my eyes. Those are the 2 safeties that are probably going to back up Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker. So, I mean, there's a chance that one of the other guys they bring in might compete for a spot, but realistically, it's a lot of, it's decent journeyman veterans and then undrafted free agents you're bringing in. I think Hicks and Williamson have the upper hand there. And regardless, though, I think that the secondary has them set up well, especially at corner.
Yeah.
Has them set up well for the future. It gives them some added leverage, honestly, over Jalen Johnson. They say, okay, we got Stevenson now. We got Kyler Gordon. We really like Terrell Smith. Why should we pay you however much money?
Right.
And, I think Jalen Johnson's going to get paid. He's going to get a big payday, and I think he deserves it. It's just a matter of, are you going to pay him like a bona fide, undisputed cornerback 1? I mean, I think that's what he'll ask for, but I don't think that's what the Bears should be or will be willing to pay at this point. So I'm interested in seeing what happens with that. But either way, if the Bears are able to re-sign him, great, because then you got him and Kyler and Tyreek Stevenson in the long run. Those are your 3 corners.
Yep.
You got some serious control over your secondary there, and which I think is massive, especially after what they've dealt with at corner over the last couple of years. So, yeah, I'm absolutely interested in seeing what not just this year, but the long-term future at corner is going to be, because I think they have a lot of different options now that they didn't necessarily have that flexibility heading into this offseason.
Yeah, the cornerback situation is that's pretty. If Johnson walks, okay, no problem. You're losing a guy, but also, you're going to have Terrell Smith, who's there, all right, getting his rookie year out of the way, but also getting his rookie year watching, okay, Jalen Johnson, watching, all these guys, and believe me, watching is a huge help. Not as good as playing, but watching, you can kind of shorten the learning curve when you watch other people who've done it for a while.
Yeah.
And my hat goes off to Ryan Poles for, 1, creating competition at every spot except quarterback, but we don't need it there. But 2, preparing for the exodus of players. It's you talk about what great general managers do. He's not building this for today, for 2023. He's building it for 2024 and 2025 and 2027 and 2029 and 2031.
Yeah.
He's building it to the point where if one guy goes down like Smith, you talked about him, He's a good corner, good, solid physical corner. We're looking at 2 solid physical corners on the edges. Okay. This is what we want in a cover 2 scene. Guys who can separate receiver from ball, like Jaquan Brisker. We're going to have some hard-hitting DBs. And I love the depth that the competition that he's created, the depth he's created. And I love how he's looking at this big term. And he told us, and but Jacob, that's the crazy part. He told us what he was going to do. He's never he might have even talked too much. I think he talks too much, but he told us exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah.
How he's going to draft, the type of people he's going to draft. He wants competition at every level. He's great character guys. He's told us point blank. He's done it. And we're just freaked out because we've never had a general manager who told us what he's going to do and follow through.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to have that level of transparency because there have been some instances where, in past regimes, it's kind of like, I don't know, either he's not following through with some of the promises he made, or I don't really get why he went in this direction. So it's definitely fun from a fan's perspective, from at least in my case, someone who's like pseudo media, to be able to hear from the general manager and being able to analyze really what he's planning on doing. So I know there's certain information that we, in the general public don't have access to. So it could make it a little bit tougher to really pin down exactly which guys fit that bill. But the more information that comes out about, some of these especially high character guys, and you factor in the athleticism, you factor in the positional value and the needs they have, it really starts to make a lot of sense with what polls and what this organization's really been emphasizing.
It really has. And guys, we're joined by Jacob Infante from Windy City Gridiron, talking Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm going to talk real quick offensively, then I want to talk about potential trades for an edge. But talk to me about the Rashawn Johnson acquisition, a draft, and also the Tyler Scott draft. It seems like, again, Ryan Poles has said, hey, listen, we're getting a guy. We are hedging our bets. If Darnell Mooney, who's going to be a free agent, is coming up, if Velus Jones, their guy who they drafted, doesn't pan out, you got a guy in Tyler Scott who can do just about everything that those two can do.
Yeah. So when you're looking at the wide receiver room, I do think that Scott fits Darnell Mooney's play style a little bit better. Obviously, being a smaller receiver, being a speedy guy, someone who can create separation.
Very speedy.
Oh, absolutely. I think he does fit that Darnell Mooney archetype much better than he does a Chase Claypool, but I'm not 100% sold that means the end for Darnell Mooney over Claypool. So we'll see what happens. I think they're going to be willing to play it out with the season and then determine from there who's going to get the boot and who's going to get re-signed. But, at the same time, I think Scott, he's fitting in right now as probably the wide receiver 4. I'd take him as having a bigger, pure, like bona fide wide receiver role than Velus Jones. Maybe Equanimeous St. Brown might outplay him in snaps early on just because of the blocking ability that he has. But I think in terms of offensive touches, to expect more from Scott this year. And down the line, he's someone I had him as my 9th overall receiver in the class. So
okay,
top 10. And I thought of him as a round 3 talent. So to get him in round 4, I was especially a big fan of. So maybe not right away. I think the top 3 wide receivers are pretty set in stone, but I think Scott has the potential to be, a solid slot receiver at the next level, a quality starter. Maybe not like an elite player by any means, but in round 4, if you can get a solid starting wide receiver, I mean, that's tremendous value. So yeah, with Scott, I was a big fan of that addition. And then Rashawn Johnson, I mentioned if he didn't play at Texas behind Bijan Robinson, a lot of people would be viewing him as a top 5 back in this class, because you're looking at the sheer size that he has, the power, the straight line speed, the blocking ability, the vision. There's really a lot to like there. And sure, he's not the most dynamic sideline to sideline type of, juke multiple guys out on one run, but he doesn't have to be with the momentum that he brings, with the toughness he runs with the precision he has in his movements. I really think that there's a lot to like with him at the next level. And I think the skill set he has could really see him develop into a starting running back at the next level. And I've been on the record for saying I think he'll develop into the lead back in Chicago. I don't want to say a bell cow, because when you have Khalil Herbert and Deontay Foreman, you want to get them involved in the offense. And I think they will, especially early on in the year. But I think Roschon Johnson's too talented to just have sitting on the bench. So I'm going to be interested in seeing what he can do. I think that it's never a bad idea to take a running back on day 3 when you consider the return on investment you're getting with a lot of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big fan of it personally, and taking a shot on someone with, maybe some untapped potential and someone who's got a bit of a lighter workload at the collegiate level.
Oh yeah.
I think it's definitely worth taking a shot there in round 4.
That's exactly what I was going to say. His legs are fresh, right?
Yeah.
His legs are fresh. And so you saw his repertoire is complete. He is a complete running. He's a 3-down back, which is, and some people have talked about his lack of breakaway speed. Show me all the running backs who have breakaway speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't have breakaway speed. The most important thing you need to have is vision. All right. That is the most important thing, because if you can't hit holes, you can't see things. You're not going to get out into the open spaces. And in the open spaces, he's got good speed, not great speed. He's got good speed, and I'll take good speed. Him as a whole package, I will definitely take. And I think you're right. I think by the end of the year, he will be starting. It won't be a bell cow, like you said, because those other two running backs definitely have a lot to offer and can really, add to the potency of this offense. But I think this guy is. I'm looking forward to seeing all the hype, because he couldn't be physical in rookie minicamp. So I can't wait till training camp. I can't wait till preseason. That's what I really want to see him. And the one thing you talked about was his lack of jukiness and shakiness. Excuse me. You don't need to have that.
Yeah.
He wasn't jukiness and shaky, and he still he led the league in missed tackles.
Yeah.
Right. So, and broken and missed tackles. So there's a lot to like about this kid. And I remember Ryan Poles has said that they did tons of drafts. He goes, and not one of them did they have Roschon Johnson falling to the 4th round.
Yeah.
So not one of them. They said he was gone long before that. Last one before we let you go, Papa, and I really appreciate your time as always. And I know it was, you were graduating, you had finals, you had a whole bunch of other craziness, and man, I truly appreciate, you taking your time out to holler at the boy. Talk to me about what you think they're going to do. There's a lot of trade rumors, right? The Chase Young, the Yannick Ngakoue, a couple others. What do you think the Bears do for an edge rusher? Do they draft one? Do they trade for one, or do they just sit back and let next year's draft picks, which one will be pretty high in the first round, do they wait until then? What do you think they do for the edge?
So I think they'll bring in some sort of veteran. I think there are, too many guys out there in free agency to not take a shot on, whether it's, Yannick Ngakoue or Frank Clark or Justin Houston or something like that. I think just one of those guys were worth bringing in, considering what they have at edge rusher right now. You're looking at DeMarcus Walker and Rasheem Green as the 2 additions, and then Travis Gibson and Dominique Robinson. But Gibson's contract's expiring at the end of the year, and he didn't live up to the expectations. Dominique Robinson had some flashes, but overall wasn't all that great this past
project year. Still a project.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And then, Walker and Green, Walker had a solid year with the Titans, but, surrounded by a lot better talent than what he will be in Chicago. So I think it's, apples and oranges there. And then Green's a solid starter, but again, that's by Chicago standards. I think with most teams, Rasheem Green is, he's a backup who certainly gets playing time, but I think that he's going to be in a bigger role in Chicago than he would be for most other NFL teams. So
he's not a difference maker in most teams.
Oh,
he's a guy. He's a guy.
I agree. Definitely. And I think that next year's draft is going to be interesting to watch. I think they'll, they have the 2 first-round picks and a second rounder. I think at least as it stands right now, one of them will be an edge rusher, or at least it should be. Because
deep edge rusher, deep draft and edge rushers next year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's like a Will Anderson caliber prospect, but there are a lot of guys who could go round 1, early round 2, and I think that's really going to benefit Chicago. So I'm interested in seeing how the class plays out for the rest of the year. And then, but in the short term, though, I think free agency is going to be the move. I don't know if there's anyone I'd trade for, especially now that Carl Lawson's contract got readjusted, so he's going to stay with the Jets. I don't know. I'd look into Chase Young, but I think the price might be a little bit too steep for someone who you're going to have to pay soon and who's dealt with injuries. But if you can get him for the right price, then that's obviously something that you should consider because he's been a baller when he's healthy.
When he's healthy, that's so true. So, hey, Jacob, great stuff, Papa. I truly appreciate it. Do me a favor, though. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on Twitter at JacobInfante24, and you can find like my written work over at Windy City Gridiron. I cover the Bears and the NFL draft over there. And you can check out my Patreon. I just finished up. I had my draft guide with all my entire big board, a lot of scouting reports, a 7-round mock draft, player comps, all that good stuff. So there's going to be more stuff coming on that over the summer too. So a lot of good stuff in the works in the long term. So yeah, I'll be doing my best to fill this little content gap that we got going on here.
Dude, great stuff, up. I appreciate it. Where are you at school? Where do you go to school?
I just finished up in Mizzou.
Okay. All right, cool, man. Are you from Chicago or?
Yeah. No. So I'm from the Chicago suburbs. I'm a Plainfield guy.
Okay, you're not too far from me. Then I'm in New Orleans now. So.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So okay.
Yeah, so I'm I'm back home for a bit, and then we'll see.
Figure it out. Okay, hey, dude, great stuff. As I said, as always, man, and looking forward to more of your work coming out. We will talk soon, and I'm looking forward to the season, man. This is going to be a really, really good season. You know what? What do you think the record is? Give it ballpark figure. I said 10. I said minimum 10 wins, and people look at me like I'm stupid. It happens a lot, but nonetheless, I said 10 wins. There's just too much going on, too much good going on.
Yeah.
I said 10 minimum. I said 10 wins. And what's your prediction, give or take?
So I think it's going to be somewhere in the ballpark. I had 9 and 8.
Okay.
I do think there's going to be, a pretty big jump in wins, and that's not tough to do when, you finish 3-14 and you have the worst record in the league. I think, like the improvements they've made, the developments I'm expecting from their young guys, and the schedule, like there aren't a lot of games where I'm like, okay, they're going to lose this game. There are a lot of them that are toss-ups, and I think some of them won't go the Bears' way, but I do think a decent amount of them will. So
unlike last year when we lost all those by 1 score.
Exactly. Yeah. And, the fact that they were playing so tight with, not a great roster, I think that does say a lot. So if they can maintain that competitive edge with, what is, objectively a more talented and more efficient roster, then I think they'll be in a lot of those games. So I'm going 9 and 8. I feel like that's a little bit safer. That gives some leeway for, okay, they'll win some of these toss-up games, they'll lose some of them. But I think there's potential. I think the worst case is like 7 and 10, but the best case, I do agree, is, like a 10 and 7 or maybe 11 and 6. So I'm splitting the difference. I'm going to go 9 and 8. I think they'll be in the wild card race for sure, though.
Really? You don't think they're going to vie for the title? You don't think
not this year? Not this year. I want to see
who do you got in the title, the top of the division then?
Top of the division, I'm gonna say Lions. I'm gonna say the Lions. I think that you saw down the stretch they're a much better team than they've been in years past, and I think the development and just gelling together, I think that's gonna help out. I don't know how high the ceiling is once they get to the playoffs, because I don't know how a Jared Goff is going to fare once he's like Jalen Hurts in the divisional round. But I think the Lions will take that. But it's going to be a really competitive division this year. I think that
I mean, they got guys out for 6 games. You know, we want to gamble and shit.
Yeah.
And I just think Detroit themselves. They're going to do something because I agree with you. I think they play hard. I think they've been markedly better in the last ever since Campbell took over. That dude's a son of a gun, boy. He got them lined up and fired up.
Yeah.
But they just until proven different, they're going to Detroit themselves. They're going to do something stupid, drop a touchdown in the end zone, like DeAndre Swift, even though they got rid of him. Wide open, drop it. They're going to do something that's going to screw them over. And in this case, how many people are suspended for gambling for the first 6 games? Like, there's a Detroit Lions Lioning themselves. Always something. And then Green Bay, we don't know what the hell's going on with Green Bay. You know, it's their receivers, their new quarterback, and then Minnesota. Are they going to get rid of Dalvin Cook? Are they going to? So I don't know. I think they might vie for the title, and they may end up with a wild card. So
yeah.
Dude, great stuff, man. I appreciate it, man. We will talk soon. And safe travels back to Chicago. Are you back yet, or are you? You coming back?
I'm back. So
okay.
I'm back. I'm doing my.
Oh, dude, it was last week, so you're not gonna stay in school for.
No, of course. Yeah. So I'm doing my thing for the week. I'm going on vacation with family next week, and then from there, I'm finalizing some job stuff. So get my nose to the grindstone, and by June I'll be rocking and rolling.
Cool. What did you major in?
So I majored in. So it's a marketing major, and I'm doing like a certificate in sales and customer development. So I'm trying to do sales full time. Okay. I've had a lot of people ask, about, like journalism and media and stuff, but I'm loving what I'm doing right now. I think that with the flexibility and all that I have with, Windy City Gridiron and, having control over like the type of stuff I want to write and I want to say, I love that. So I'm happy with where I'm at right now, but that's where I'm thinking sales is probably the full-time gig for me.
Dude, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good luck with that. And we'll be in touch, bro. It's going to be a great bear season, so we're going to have you on soon. So look forward to that again. All right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Papa. Thanks. We'll talk soon.
We'll see you.
Bye. Guys, that's Jacob and Fondy from Windy City Gridiron. Man, oh man, got me fired up talking Bears. Woo-hoo, Charlie. Woo! Yes, listen, we got to take a quick break. And the other side of the break is the final break of the show, final break of the week. And we're gonna wrap it up and put a nice little red bow on it. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Yeah, hello. I'm really not sure if this is what you all do, but I really don't have anywhere else to turn.
Hi. I don't even know why I'm calling right now. I'm sorry. My thoughts are going a mile a minute.
My kids are out of state. My buddies from the Army are all gone now. I'm really alone.
I left the service last year. My mom just passed away a few months ago. I miss so much time with her. I keep getting calls about the bills, and I'm trying to get a job, but I feel so stuck.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad you called.
Okay, sir. Let's stay on the line and walk through some things.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We're looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators. A passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds. Help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Mental health and learning disorders don't discriminate. 17 million children and adolescents in the United States live with disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and dyslexia. Less than half get the help they need to thrive. Help the Child Mind Institute change these children's lives. Visit childmind.org.
Season at 2-1 towards second. Well, 27 line drive outs isn't going to happen. You're dreaming for Cleveland. Here's one of those ground balls. It's Berger. It's Alberto, and it's a double play.
It's a 5-4-3 for the yard. And he swings and hits a ground ball into left through the hole. 114 off the bat.
Has had some leg issues, so he's got to make sure he keeps the ball off the ground.
Line to left, a base hit for Grandal on 2 strikes.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those tips courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. And we just got done with Jacob Infante. He is now a Mizzou alum. Jacob Infante talking Bears football got me fired up. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And no, Junior, to answer your question, you asked if that was an owl above that was on my shirt. I know you're being a smart ass, but no, it is the Warriors. You know, it's Flashback Friday, so I usually wear a shirt, a flashback shirt, a classic shirt, and it's not an owl. It is their logo from the Warriors. You know what? I looked and they have a vest, and I've been thinking about getting it. It just for shits and giggles. Getting a vest. Getting better. I got to get a little more cut, which I'm going to the gym a little later today. And just wear it like out for the summer one day. Just, out a nice little warm day and just wear it. I think it would spark a lot of conversation with people, especially people of a certain age group. It would definitely spark a conversation. So yeah, they sell them on eBay, so I think I may bid on one in the near future and get one. Hell, I might even wear that on the show. Although I'd probably wear a shirt underneath it because I don't want you guys looking at me and drooling, you psychos. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I got jokes. Baby. Hey, listen. A lot going on this week. Make sure you check it out. Sox are home. I'm heading to the game tomorrow. I still need 2. I got one person waiting, but I still need 2 people to go with me to get the pullovers. Did I erase it? I think I did. They got the pullovers that they are giving away tomorrow. No, I didn't. This one. Dude, those are nice. And then they had the tickets. The tickets. I just saw it. Then they had the commercial for it. First of all, the commercial they had for it was straight stereotypical Bridgeport wise guys, like a whole bunch of Italian guys is like, how you doing? And wearing the pullovers. Those are nice. So I looked and the pullover or the cheapest tickets are $11, not $7. They've gone up. So I'm trying to getting 4 tickets. I just need 2 other people to go with me. I have one person I'm waiting on to go, and literally just go, get in, grab it, walk right out. Not even get in the stadium. Not even go up the stairs into the stadium. Get it, turn right around, walk out the exit, go grab a drink at Cork and Carries or Turtles, or just head home. Go grab some breakfast. Who knows? But it's gonna be. I can't wait. If I get it, put it this way: if I get I'll get that. I should wear that on Monday. I'll wear that zip up on Monday. That'll be dope. So I need 4 of them: one for me, one for Mom, one for my tia, and one I may just sell. Or you know what I might do, which is really good? Keep it. I kept last year's one. Keep it. Just put it in a plastic bag. Keep it, because imagine 5 years, 7 years from now. Okay, you pull that out and you wear it. Like, oh man, that's dope. That's dope. Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? I'll be like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Oh man. Well, listen, 3 hours is come and gone. Unbelievable. I want to thank my guests today. We had a phenomenal. Was I lying to you? I wasn't lying. We had a phenomenal show for you. Brandon Scoop B. Robinson kicked it off at 10 o'clock, talking NBA playoffs, talking Bulls basketball. Then my guy Jason Palmer joined, talking WNBA basketball as the ladies get ready to kick off the season tonight up in Minnesota against the Lynx. And then Jacob Infante. We just got off with Jacob Infante talking Bears. What a great, great show. Just keep it locked right here, folks, on Sports Zone Chicago. What's up, cuz? I'm sorry. Second City Sports is next here. They'll take you from 12 to 2, a little after 12, or 12:15 to 2:15. They're going to take you on a ride, and they're going to talk some WNBA. They're going to talk some basketball, NBA playoffs. They're going to talk some Sox, some Cubs. So keep it here. Lakina McGee and Sydney Brown on Second City Sports coming up right here on Sports Zone Chicago. So we're going to take a 69-hour break, and on the other side of the break, okay, we are going to see you on Monday. Same bad time, same bad channel, 9 a.m. to noon Central Time. So listen, enjoy the weekend. It's going to be supposed to be rainy today. That's all right. That's fine. Enjoy the weekend. Remember, really, really just have fun with your loved ones. Enjoy it. It's Summertime Shy is right around the corner. So let's make sure that you spend time with your loved ones. Get out, do some cool stuff. And we will see you on Monday. Get your sports fix in. All right. For the weekend, a lot of sports. And we will be back Monday, 9 a.m. to noon. So for my guy who puts everything together, Steve Weekly, for our executive producer, Elliot Baez, for our social media guy, Clarence Council III, and for my co-host in absentia, Maya Akai, I'm your boy, the Superback. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. You guys have a good weekend, a great weekend. And guess what? I will see you on Monday. Your boy, the Superback. I'm out.